It is 6 o'clock from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. It's the second day of padded practice today at St. Thomas Sports Park as the Titans training camp rolls on. Rookies Treylon, Burks, and McCreary made notable plays yesterday, continue to have strong camps. Practice begins at 9:30 today. The Buck Rising Show will be live from camp beginning at 10. Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. That's the ruling from league disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson. However, Commissioner Roger Goodell does have final authority over the ruling. It is unclear if the NFL will appeal the decision. The Atlanta Braves signed star third baseman Austin Reilly to a 10-year, $212 million contract. That's the most lucrative deal in team history. The team still had 3 additional seasons under club control prior to the deal. And the Braves acquired Detroit Tigers outfielder Robbie Grossman prior to today's trade deadline. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. Jay Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone on this Tuesday. Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer are here. I'm Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at J Mart Radio, at J Mart and Ramon.
I was on point.
615-737-1045. That's how you reach the program. Few people that will reach the program before the end of it today. Josh Ward, talk some college with him next hour. Mike McCourcy of the Sporting News, who wrote an excellent piece on the Deshaun Watson situation, will join us in hour 3. Ron Slay in hour 4. And outside of that, chance for you to jump in if you would like. Certainly the Deshaun topic is still out there. Roger McCreary balled out yesterday. Heard that and saw that from everywhere. And if you see any of the clips, you could tell it pretty clearly. Offense, I don't know. Like you saw it looked like the offense didn't have a great day, but it also looked like defense made them look a lot worse as well. But Tannehill was, for what this is worth, and it's nothing. 6 of 14.
Yeah. Shafe, I need the sounder on this one, though, Jay. Not yet, but no
Still didn't have one.
Interceptions. Does it matter? It can't.
Not to me.
Okay. I give it a little credit. I give him with the.
I'm not. Well, no, I'm not saying it's a bad. I mean, it's better that you don't throw one than you do.
Oh no, I'm just
saying, like, I don't look at stats in a camp and
your
say that's
team.
something that needs to be discussed on a
I was just gonna give him
respectable radio show.
Carruthers.
So we can talk about it on this one.
Caramel. I was gonna give him a Carruthers caramel piece of candy. You know, the one your grandmama have in the candy bowl right there, Jay. You took a sip of that right there and you just cherished it. I don't know what that is, but I'm getting it tomorrow. I don't know what's in his cup over there, Shafe, but I'm getting some of that tomorrow. What is that?
I want the smoke. That's what's in the cup.
He hasn't had that much joy since his kid was born.
Did you see how you said Jay looked at the cup? When you take a sip and you look at it afterwards, that's a damn good sip right there.
It's green tea.
Okay. No sweetener, just pure green.
A little bit of stevia.
Okay,
a little bit of stevia.
A little stevia. Okay, all right. You sip that because my cold brew doesn't do that this morning. I just sip that and go,
I just wanted to change it up.
Okay. I
used to do this. Maybe I should do this a little bit more often. It's good for you.
Yeah, it is. Green tea, man. Anytime I'm need a booster, green tea actually has really good caffeine in it too.
Yeah, this doesn't have a ton. This has like 55 milligrams compared to that, which has 300.
Yeah.
I got that in the fridge. I got more. I got some of that in the fridge.
Injected.
We'll see what's going to happen.
In my veins. But no, I had to interrupt that right there. It was like, man, that must be a great drink as the early morning crew hit the road this morning.
That well.
But yeah, I was just gonna give him a piece of caramel candy, Jay, for not getting any interceptions
That's
in
fine.
camp so far.
That's fine. Like I said, it's better to not have thrown one than to throw one. It's camp.
I know. And you know what? I've been, of course, looking at different training camps too. A lot of beat writers are tracking that, as far as interceptions and completions. And I was just like, I didn't realize this was a thing. Has it turned over into a thing, Jay? What all information, as much as you can give out at practice, kind of gets out now? Has that always been like that a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see so. I mean, I think the camp numbers have gotten more relevant just because more people have access to see the numbers than they used to on various websites and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to start critiquing Tannehill based on his camp.
Okay.
He had a rough enough offseason. Like, I've turned the page. He's got another opportunity, should they make the playoffs, to rewrite the narrative. I'm going to give him one more chance to do that without, like, just assuming it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Is my confidence going to waver a little bit? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I already know he's going to have a decent regular season.
Right.
I have no doubt of that. So him having a good camp shouldn't surprise me. He's 40 of 54, if you want those numbers that we said we weren't going to mention. But the defense had a great day. And McCreary, everything you hear about McCreary is positive.
Yeah.
Literally everything. I didn't love the pick because I thought it was an overdraft.
Yeah.
Based on where I had seen him slotted. I was just like, really? You're going to take him right now? But nobody's ever going to say you overdrafted for the right guy. Mm-hmm. If he's the right guy, it's not going to matter.
You look like geniuses then. Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't expect him to be taken there just simply because I was just thinking, okay, he might get more line help. They might go receiver again. I was thinking receiver, and then everybody else as far as the draft goes. Considering you had Christian Fulton, and you also had Caleb Farley under your belt too, as far as cornerbacks, and Elijah Molden had a really good year also from a rookie slash dime or nickel back defender. So I wasn't expecting Roger McCreary to be picked, but to see what he's done in OTAs and minicamp, and to actually see him with pads on right now too, or hear him with pads on right now, it seems like he was the right pick. It's one of those, I don't know if he was best available just across all boards, of just best available for as the Titans go. Now we look back at it, Jay, maybe he's the dime guy, not necessarily the nickel, because Elijah Molden did it last year. So this is a passing league. They're going to go against a bunch of passing teams, and you can see a guy like him who's also been stated as saying he's very physical. Roger McCreary, this is. So the short arms don't mean a thing, Jay.
Yeah, the only thing that concerned me with everything that I read and saw was he's not fast. So if you get behind him, he can be in massive trouble.
Yeah.
But everybody's got their knocks. Everybody's got something about them. Mm-hmm. So I want to see what that looks like against teams that have speedy guys that can try to take advantage of that, and whether or not that becomes any kind of a liability, or if it's just another guy that wasn't fast on a 40 time.
Right.
Even though I'd heard again that Derek Mason, his DC at Auburn, said, look, he is Adoree Jackson without Adoree's speed. That was the quote. That's not what you want.
Yeah.
Because I don't want Adoree without Adoree's speed.
Well, Adoree also goes out and said he'd rather play his type of technique, though, too. So maybe we saw a version of Adoree where he wasn't comfortable.
Which
not pushing back on you, but
no, that's fair.
Am I shocked? I know you and Bull talked about that, right?
Yeah, we did.
As far as your technique on defense doesn't mean as much. And what did he kind of say? Like, you can do it as long as you're making plays? Was that his take on it? As far as playing with your own technique?
Who are you talking about?
Bullock. Did he kind of give that answer as far as technique goes?
Just basically said that there's just guys that don't necessarily work in certain systems.
Okay.
And what they want to do and what they're used to is a different experience. And I said, look, it's kind of, and I think he sort of agreed with this. It's just Vrabel's kind of a different guy. He's always going to have dudes that are really going to ride or die with him.
Yeah.
There's going to be dudes that are going to be on the outside that don't like the way he does certain things. he's not a universal coach. Like, I imagine most everybody likes playing for Dan Campbell, right?
It seems that way right now.
That way.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way.
And I'd say there's some other guys that are very similar to that. Vrabel's tough.
Yeah.
He's hard. He's blue collar. He's bristly.
Prove it type coach. Yeah.
Right. It seems like maybe he would harp on a mistake a little bit.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but Adoree came from USC when they weren't winning. When he could just go out there and
that's true. I didn't think about that.
It's just a different universe than playing for the Tennessee Titans. You played for an it brand in L.A., and then you end up in Nashville playing for a coach that's not a superstar.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like a Pete Carroll superstar. He's a work pail kind of guy. And then Adoree, I think, probably fell out of favor with him once he got hurt.
That's an interesting take, too, about him being at USC. And him, basically, he's still first-rounder. He balled on everything that he did. So that may have been the mindset, though, Jay. Look, I became a first-rounder doing what I do. And that's one thing coaches will do, man. From the time you get into college, they have a whole lot of structure. From the time that you get into the league to getting on teams like that, the technique that they teach you, and I needed, I'll say this too, as an offensive lineman, I thought I had the perfect set in high school, Jay. I get to college, they broke down everything that I ever thought was right. And then when I got to the NFL, it was the exact same thing too. I was thinking, well, I did this in college, this should be fine. And they legitimately like broke it down. And so I guess if you're that type of person that have to listen to what the coaches have to say, me, myself, undrafted guys, lower round guys for the most part, or guys that just want to absorb everything coming their way, then guess what? You end up doing extra stuff after practice, stepping over the line, moving left and right, trying to figure out what am I doing wrong so that I can, get on the right page of the coach's technique for the most part. I am a little bit shocked by that admission, from him as far as saying, look, I'd rather just kind of do my own thing. Right. But, I mean, right now Roger McCreary is a kid that, look, we hadn't heard too much of him about getting burnt, Jay, as far as being the door without the speed. All we've heard as of late has been, look, he's been Johnny on the spot when it comes to breaking up the ball and, being in the mix as far as this team's defense go. And he's a rookie getting this much. I don't even know if it's fan or just coverage. Like, he's not actually taking a back seat to a lot of stuff. This is very refreshing. Not just, Roger McCreary, but also Treylon Burks. Both of those dudes have been, I guess you say, if you're looking for John Robinson, get on the right foot. It seems like these two now in camp have gotten on the right foot as far as being available and actually making plays throughout practice. So, and it wasn't perfect for Treylon yesterday either, but it is what it is. He's a young guy. He's going to get bullied. He's a first rounder. There's a higher expectation for him. So, this is refreshing, Jay. I will say that this year going into camp to hear good stuff about the rookies.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And, they're going to get their opportunity to either prove those words right or prove those words wrong when the games are played.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like at USC, Adoree was 9-4, 8-6, 10-3.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, not terrible. And
right.
They won the Rose Bowl in his junior year, I guess, right before he left. And that was the year he won the Thorpe Award and all those things.
Yeah.
But all I can tell you is this. Everybody wanted to see him return punts until they actually saw him return punts.
Yeah.
Because he's super fast and everything else. When you put him back there with return kicks, his instincts weren't right, and he seemed like he was afraid to come close to getting hit so he would not field the ball half the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, well, don't put him back there anymore.
Yeah.
So that to me is just kind of like, I don't want to use the word soft. I do want to use the word finesse.
Okay, finesse.
He's more of a finesse guy. Vrabel is not a finesse coach at all.
Face in the fan type, right? You better dive in. Would you stand back there and catch those field goals or those punts, though, Jay? Kickoff returns? Well, I'm going to be first and tell you, heck no.
Well, then tell him, don't put me back there. That's not.
Oh, my God.
One of the two things, but that was one of his values because of his speed.
Because of his speed, yeah, 100%. He
won a long jump and won all the track stuff at USC and all that kind of thing.
Everything lines up that he could have or should have been able to do that type of job. Maybe he did it poorly to not ever be in that position before. I've seen guys in preseason kind of do that type of stuff, like give up a block when they know they're going to make the team anyway.
Turn around and run the wrong way into the end zone and be like, you know what, Coach, sometimes I just forget which side we're on.
I thought Well, I don't pay you to think. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those situations.
615-737-1045. We'll come back. We'll get some more of the observations from camp yesterday. Continue to look at some of the headlines across the league. The Deshaun thing, nothing's changed as of right now.
No.
Listen to a 20-minute interview with Jenny Ventus that I would tell everybody to go listen to with Robert Mays on the Athletic podcast yesterday. He just sat there and he asked questions. He asked every question you would want an answer to. She gave the answer to it. It was not a whole lot of bloviation. He got to the end. He made an editorial comment about the future of the league based on this decision that I thought was sobering and 1,000% true. So we'll talk some of that as well. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone. And so the only thing that's predictable about our weather is that it is unpredictable. You know that the summer, well, it was predictably terrible throughout the summer in terms of how warm it was, and we're right back up into the 90s for much of the rest of this week with high dew points again. So you definitely want to make sure your HVAC's rolling, but you got to make sure your home is ready for the next storm, the next heat wave, and the best way is to have the Lee Company home maintenance plan on your side. I want you to sign up today for less than $9 a month. Expert technicians will come out 4 times a year, and they're going to take care of the things that you need the most at that time. They'll take care of your cooling. Matter of fact, they called me on Friday, said, hey, it's time for the cooling. Like, yep, okay, come on out. Heating, plumbing, electrical systems. They'll come out again 4 times a year. They will address those things, make sure everything is in working order, and get you set up. Learn more at leecompany.com. Give them a call at 615-567-1000. That's 567-1000. That's leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Welcome back, J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Titans camp rolling along, and the more days of camp that you see, the closer that makes the season. We're through 5 now. I appreciate that the Titans have the new shell helmet thing, whatever it's called.
The bubble.
Yeah, whatever it is. At least they've got it in team colors.
Yeah.
Because most people had this like weird taupe color all across the league. Titans are out here with the deep blue.
Mm-hmm. Started at the college level, brought his way on up, man. Brought his way on up to the NFL. Who was? Sorry, I was talking to somebody about it yesterday. We're talking about it could possibly cause guys to use their helmets a little bit more. They won't be acclimated to actually keeping their helmets out of play because they're used to having the extra padding and stuff like that. And I was just like, I don't know if that's the case. I actually like this idea of, taking some of the blunt, force trauma away in practice, because that's where a lot of the hardest hits happen. Well, more hits happen. It's not game day. It's actually practice, because you're doing that every single day.
There were some coaches, I think J.J. Watt, a few people over the weekend said they didn't like this at all. They didn't like how it felt
on their head,
on their neck, but also the big thing was just it was making the contact more violent.
Really?
And that once you take that thing off and you're in the regular season, those same hits are going to knock guys out because the ramp-up period has changed.
You say that, but nobody's seen this happen in college.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm saying that was the critique of it. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other.
I mean, I don't either.
I need to see what happens.
Well, I'll say that I do have an opinion. I actually like the idea of taking some of that pop away and practice. The helmet shouldn't be a weapon anyway. It should be a security device for guys. And I think, in my opinion, adding a little bit more padding to it kind of helps out a little bit. I think I told you guys the way I got the rugby hats for my kids that play flag football for me. And that's because those kids are running out there with no protection whatsoever on their heads. And if you ever been to a flag football game with kids, you will see, Jason, they run in any direction. They don't look at anybody around them. And my kids hated it in the beginning. They was like, why do we got to wear these things on our head? We look weird. And I said, well, I care about your head, okay? Like, I care about you running until miles over here. Like, don't do that. And I had other coaches later in the season realize what it was, how helpful it was, because football in all sports, I don't care if you're playing flag, I don't care if you're playing two-hand touch or tackle, Jay, you always going to go a little bit more harder and get a little bit more physical than you think you're actually going to. And just a simple fall into the ground where you bang your head against the grass. Like, I know the ground, as far as grass, dirt being a little bit softer, but you don't need anybody banging their head on the ground with no protection. And I had other coaches ask me about that, and I really wish that flag football leagues would actually kind of, request or provide that type of merchandise for kids. Or I know it comes down to funding, and they're not really into budgeting for stuff like that. But flag is a sport where I've seen kids bang heads together, and I'm like, God, I cringe at this stuff. So it is what it is, man. I'm out for the well-being of the game. Some people just –
yeah, I want to see what the results are.
I want to see it. I'm not pushing back on. I'm just giving, a scenario in which I've seen directly help kids out. So very interesting. Everybody's, brutes about this stuff.
Yeah. So McCreary had a good day, like we mentioned. Burks, Jimmy Wise said not a perfect day. He was out duel for some balls.
Say that. Yep.
Things of that nature. Again, like, you look at all of it and you just say, all right, from day to day, what's happening? Well, Malik Willis didn't have a good day yesterday.
Yeah.
I shrug my shoulders to that too. Like, I know everything's growth for him. Part of growth is also making some mistakes along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he misfired on some throws, again, from Wyatt, picked off by Shakur Brown in a red zone period. Mm-hmm. But his receiver fell.
Yeah, I saw that too. He didn't help him. So what is that pick? Like, that's not necessarily a pick on him. But one thing I noticed about Malik when I got a chance to see him was his detail on trying to work on the short passes, which I think that play was an out route or whatever it was, Jason, that he was throwing to him. He is a very physical-looking quarterback, man. You see him, he looks like a running back almost with the way he's built. That's neither here nor there, but you can tell he's got a cannon of an arm, and him working on those little finesse plays is something that's going to always be something that he has to make sure he's very detailed upon. If you're smart, you work it the way you said Tom Brady does. Every inch of the pass is down to the very minute detail, and that's something that young guys need to be able to take on early on. Him having an interception in practice, what is that, just a regular Monday for a young guy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want to see him go 20 of 20. I mean, sure you do, but it's fifth day camp. He's new to this. He's certainly new to everybody's new to the offense that's a rookie, but he's also just new to this kind of an install and these expectations compared to what he ran at Liberty. So it's going to take time. Again, we're not expecting to see him this year, and outside of a package here and there maybe.
Other thing, too, is the reaction of players on the other side of the ball. Like, that may have been an incompletion in college. Or especially at ULL, right? Or what was it, at Liberty or Lafayette? Liberty. That would have been an incompletion there. No, guys actually breaking on the ball and making plays in this type of situation. The speed of the game, I think, for some quarterbacks or some players in general coming from smaller schools, you do have to realize, I got to move a little bit quicker. Like, my twitch got to be a little bit faster. So I'm not dismissing him whatsoever. He's going to make the team, and he's going to be a phenomenal player. To your point,
Yeah, I mean, it's a process. You didn't draft him to be the starter this year. Hate to tell those that think that's going to happen, but it's not, and it's a good problem to have. You don't want him to start right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for that. Tannehill's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So the Browns statement yesterday. Throughout this process, Deshaun and his representatives have abided by the newly created and agreed-upon process for the NFLPA and the NFL to defer to the objective judge, Sue L. Robinson, to comprehensively review all information and make a fair decision. We respect Judge Robinson's decision and at the same time empathize and understand that there have been many individuals triggered throughout this process. Weird word choice. We know Deshaun is remorseful that this situation has caused much heartache to many, and he will continue the work needed to show who he is on and off the field, and we will continue to support him. What's funny about this, and I saw this in a response to this, the Browns said he's remorseful.
Yeah.
Sue Robinson, in the ruling, said his obvious lack of remorse for his behavior was one of the biggest problems with what went on.
Yeah.
And he continually has said, he didn't need to apologize. He hadn't done anything.
He do nothing.
So what are the Browns saying here? What's he remorseful about? He didn't do anything, right?
Right. Were we asking for the Browns to say anything yesterday?
I mean, Stefanski was going to be asked, right?
Yeah.
And he answered,
Yeah.
I thought he answered fairly well for his situation and where he was. But I didn't need anything from the ownership because we already know who they are.
You've done it already.
Yeah.
I think when we all saw that he got signed initially, we was like, it happened. Then you're like, how did it happen?
Yeah.
You paid what for what? Like, he's worth what he's worth. But the way they built that contract in was like, look, you'd almost say, Jay, with now in hindsight, like to give $230 to do the signing bonus the way they did, and apparently the Browns always do this for the most part. A lot of teams kind of give the big cash up front, and then the base salary in year one is about $1 million or right above the base, or maybe depending on how you structure that deal. But when you saw the way this was done, you kind of knew, look, he probably gonna play, and I thought it would be about a year just because it was $1 million minimum and all those types of things. Just realizing now, the Browns knew they were gonna make this play. They knew they had to have Deshaun, and they knew they were going to do whatever they needed to make sure that he did play. You know what I'm saying? As far as the optics of it, we'll get out front of it if we have to. We'll surround him. We'll let him be the guy coming in. And they got rid of Baker Mayfield to make sure that he was the guy too. You don't get rid of Baker, and I know their relationship was really messed up, but they got to the point that he was just a redheaded stepchild of the family. He was a black sheep of the family. Like, after this dude helped you win games. So you knew the level of commitment and how they were going to go about this, pointing in the direction that Deshaun was going to be all right. And it's a little low class if you kind of throw it out there a little bit, but It is what it is, man. The NFL is all about second chances, all about guys that can play will find a way to on the field, Jason. And
yeah, I mean, they don't care about the chances. They care about what that helps them win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can couch it that way, but the Browns, this is what Robert Mays basically said yesterday in the podcast. He said to Jenny Ventus, he said, they made a cynical bet. The Browns made a cynical bet based on precedent that this would be less than half of a season. That what happened, as heinous as it might be, that they would be able to win sooner rather than later, basically.
Wow.
And what happened yesterday, if indeed it stays at 6, and we'll find out, proves they were right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be the blueprint going forward for organizations to turn a blind eye to heinous allegations and bad situations because the bet paid off. Because if Deshaun's back in 6 games,
yeah,
the bet paid off. Fully guaranteed money, whatever. A quarterback's worth, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point in time, this tells other teams, y'all should have done the same thing.
I would have got them too, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
I just beat y'all to the punch.
Which is why Mays argues that the NFL needs to take that into consideration. And that's why they need to file the appeal, is to go ahead and make it more punitive against these teams so that they don't just start signing a bunch of potential scumbags.
Yeah. So let me ask you this as far as the NFL is concerned. And Roger Goodell, we, of course, always throw out the fact. I'm a union guy, but we always just say Roger works for the owners. Like, don't let him butter you up on draft night when he's hugging you and giving you the jersey and smiling. Roger works for the owners, okay? And that's Roger Goodell, Jay. You've been at baseball games. You've been in refereeing events. You've been at basketball games and all those things. Like on controversial calls. Like this weekend, we had 2 kids, man, that did not tag up at third before running home. We saw it, but the umpires didn't see it. So when the coach challenged it, what do you think happened as far as the challenge and the kids scoring and everything? He didn't go against his teammate, right? The umpire chose not to look. They pretty much met up in the middle of the field and said, what did you see? I didn't see anything. Well, we'll go with your call. I won't go against you. Like, that's usually how it goes. In those type of relationships, when it's referees and now we got owner and worker, do you think Roger Goodell, considering what the NFL is going to do to the Browns of Deshaun Watson, will actually go against their own people on this one? As far as you saying a second ago, like, y'all did dirty work. So we see it. The people who govern you, or the guy that governs you, Roger Goodell in the front office in New York, will they actually go against you? To your point about the Browns organization saying, we just got one.
So here's what I was referencing. Schaefer went and grabbed it for me.
Yeah.
Here's Robert Mays from his podcast, the Athletic Football Podcast, where he had Jenny Ventus for 21 minutes yesterday. It's the best listen that you can have on this topic, period. Like, it's flat out answers every question and talks every issue that you would want in a pretty concise amount of time. But here is one of the crucial points and one of the things I just referenced from that podcast.
The Browns made a very cynical bet on all of this. And the cynical bet is that in instances where this has happened before, it goes away. You take whatever the punishment is, you take your medicine when it's initially doled out, and in time, especially when he begins to play again, this will dissipate, and it will cease to matter as much over time. And when they made that bet, I think they thought it was going to be less than half a season. This is the range they thought the suspension was going to land in based on precedent and everything that's happened. And if this is what it is, if this is it, if it is 6 games and that's what it is moving forward, then everyone who made these cynical bets was justified in making them.
Yeah, that's part of what he said. Then they go on to say, look, other teams are going to start making these same bets. And that's why the NFL needs to be real careful here. That there needs to be more of a penalty for doing things like this.
Yeah.
Because the Browns right now feel like winners.
They do.
And if you want to see it, look at some of their fans. Not all of them, but some of them.
But
a good many of them.
Okay. He said the NFL has to do something, and I am in full agreement with.
Well, I mean, he said 6 is not, just doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah. But Jay, to the point I was making a second ago, when you're teammates with somebody or you're like worker owner, and you get about $1 million tip yearly, your base salary, your salary or your bonus is about $40 million a year, just simply because the owners tip you. Are you willing to go against one or, kind of set the precedence that, look, I don't care what you guys do. I'm gonna rain down hard on you. Do you see that actually happening from Roger Goodell in New York?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? And I know what we're getting at. It's like something has to be done a little bit more, at least from the perception of your relationships with women, your relationship with young girls that consume this sport, your relationship with just dads or anybody that's been abused. Like, this ain't just a female thing here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a person thing. This is a people do the right thing type of situation.
My question, and I don't know the answer to this. I don't know the next time I'll look at Deshaun Watson, football uniform or not. He's on the field in the Browns uniform with his helmet on. We're watching the NFL. I don't think I can watch him and not think of this the entire time. I don't think there's even a half second I'll forget about it. Like, because it's so out there and there's so many allegations and it's so sordid and it's so gross. Like, I know that's not ultimately going to matter, but I don't think I'm alone there. Like, I'm going to see Deshaun, and this is always going to be there. It's always going to be the first thing I think about when I think of Deshaun.
What about the wins, losses?
It's not going to matter to me.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the wins, losses, we're watching the league, we're covering the league. That's going to be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
But when I look at Deshaun Watson, all I'm going to see is this.
Yeah.
Especially if he doesn't pay a penalty that seems even remotely commensurate to what he actually did.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the NFL is going to do. I know what I hope they do, but I don't know what they're going to do.
I'm almost with Robert Mays. I don't know if they do much. I just don't. I think this is it. I'll be shocked if they do more.
I could see 2 more games.
I'm at a point where I almost see let it lie.
Or I could see a massive fine that's not going to matter at all.
Or you can see them file an appeal, then Deshaun sues, and then Deshaun plays in week 1.
Yeah, that's a strong option. I don't think they do anything moving forward.
I just don't know. The history would tell you they're not probably going to do anything.
So I don't even want to think of who's next on that Summer Jam screen whenever it comes down to what they're willing to let play.
I don't know.
We might have to go down that list of things under Roger Goodell.
Yeah, I've got it here.
That was
sent me. Yeah. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. 737-1045. We'll come back and we can look at the suspensions under Roger Goodell because there have been more than I thought.
Yeah, me too.
Since 2006. We'll run through those. And again, this is in line with those, but is what's happened here in line with what was suspended in the past? That's where you get into tricky business here. It's Jay Martin or Mo on 104.5 The Zone.
If you've been paying attention, you can tell the mortgage interest rates are going up. But my guys at the Home Loan Expert need to get you locked in today because their rates are over a quarter point lower than the national average. Yes, that means they can save you a little bit of coin month to month, okay? And they're still locking in their clients with great loans at a quarter point lower than the national average. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, if you haven't gotten your pre-approved home loan locked in, now is the time. And also, by refinancing your 30-year mortgage with the Home Loan Expert, you can still save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month with a simple refi. So if you've been thinking about getting a cash-out refi, listen to me again. Now is the time. You can pay off some of your credit card debt, make home remodeling projects a reality. I know this is about that time right before the holidays start to kick in where you need a little extra cash. Hey, I might even do something to my house with some of this extra cash. Stick some cash in your bank bank and stop living paycheck to paycheck, okay? With this cash out refi, their clients receive on average over $54,000 with a simple cash out refi at closing, okay? And listen to me, your home is your biggest asset. And y'all know, like I know, the home equity is super high right now. It's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. By not owing credit card companies with high interest rates right now, you're putting hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, back into your pockets monthly. The housing market is starting to cool down. At least some of the prices are, but the inventory is still low, and homes are still selling fast. They need to get you pre-approved today. The Home Loan Expert has a lower rate loan program for almost everyone and a 10-day closing guarantee. And they can answer all your questions and make sure you are ready to close the deal. The 10-day closing guarantee only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
1045 The Zone, excited to present our first For the Fam Hangouts. J. Martin Ramon and myself inviting you to join the fam as we hang out at Bold Patriot Brewing inside the L&L Market off of Charlotte Avenue. That's going to be during the Titans at Ravens preseason game Thursday, August 11th. They're going to be here before you know it. Enjoy delicious craft beer from Bold Patriot. Also, food by O'Charlie's. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com/events today.
That's next Thursday.
Man.
Guess I need to let the family know I'm going to go do that.
Uh-oh.
Maybe CG will make an appearance. I don't know.
Hey, now. Get a bet. Get a
Remember, I was like, hey, CG. I was just like, hey, Abby, I'll take CG to a municipal for Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah.
And Abby was like, no, you won't.
Put CG in the ring.
She'd have moved better than Rick.
Rick would have probably booted her out of the ring is what would have happened.
That was hard to watch.
Yeah, Rick would have let her have it, man.
Apparently it's worse on TV, though. Apparently on TV, people were legit concerned for his health. And I hate that's the last image, but look, you got to do whatever he wanted. So
Rick is he's a show.
We're gonna have Mike DeCourcy come on in the third hour of the show. He annihilated Sue Robinson at Sporting News yesterday. Just annihilated her. When you're compared to Urban Meyer as an NFL head coach,
Excuse me?
vicious.
Eesh.
So the tracker of suspensions. Ricky Manning, 1 game domestic violence. This starts in 2006. Chris Henry, 8 games personal conduct. Adam Pac-Man Jones, entire 2007 season, attacking a stripper and threatening a security guard's life. That'll do it.
Amongst a myriad of things going on.
Somebody
at that
got
time.
paralyzed from that.
Tank Johnson, 8 games,
Remember that?
firearms charge, violation of probation.
Probation? Man.
Michael Vick, indefinite, 2 years.
Went to prison.
Darian Scott, 3 games, child endangerment. Bryant McKinney, 4 games, aggravated battery arrest. Pac-Man again, 4 games, altercation with a bodyguard. Plaxico Burress, 4 games, shooting himself with a firearm.
Say that again.
Plaxico Burress, 4 games, accidental shooting with a firearm.
Shooting of a firearm, 4 games. Okay.
In a public place, too.
Public in New York.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dante Stallworth, probably should have never played again.
Actually did. Did he get a ring too?
I don't remember that.
I think
Maybe
he did.
killed a pedestrian while DUI.
Yep.
Plaxico, he was suspended until released from prison after the same incident from the past. Ben Roethlisberger, 6 reduced to 4 rape charges. Terrell Pryor, 5 games, improper benefits scandal at Ohio State. I don't know why the NFL has anything to do with that.
I read up on it. They basically did a favor to the NCAA. They said he was running from sanctions in college, so he went into the supplemental draft. They at first banned him from the supplemental draft. The NFL they punished him for something in college. And he got 5 games, 1 less than the guy that
allegedly terrorized over 24 women. Chris Cook, entire 2011 season, domestic assault
pulled
charges.
a gun on neighbors and beat his girl and stuff like that.
Jonathan Vilma, entire 2012 season, later overturned Bountygate. They were suspended for a season for Bountygate. But if the bounties were women, Jonathan, you've been all right.
He'd have got 4 games.
You got 6 games, bro.
Yeah, 6.
Anthony Hargrove, 8 games, later overturned Bountygate. Will Smith, 4 games, later overturned Bountygate. Scott Fujita, 3 games, later overturned Bountygate. That's through 2012. We'll come back out of the break and we'll continue because we just got into 2013. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. 737-1045. Reminder, Josh Ward will flip and talk some college here in about 25 minutes. What's happening with the Vols? What's happening with the SEC? College football in general. Good conversation to be had. Hour 2 is next here on The Zone.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything, like when that relief valve on your water heater fails while you're out of town and it pours gallons of water into your finished basement. You wouldn't like that. But guess what? ServPro is prepared for it. Or when you have an electrical shortage in your office that causes extensive smoke and water damage, ServPro is prepared for that. Or a musty odor or little black spots around your house because it's damp here and there might indicate you might have a mold problem. Guess what? ServPro is prepared for that. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800 ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800 SERVPRO. That's ServPro. Cleaning, restoration, construction. Franchise is independently owned and operated.
It is 7:01. Good morning from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Second day of padded practice at St. Thomas Sports Park today. Titans training camp rolls on. Roger McCreary made notable plays yesterday, continues to have a strong camp. Practice begins at 9:30. The Buck Rising Show will be live from camp beginning at 10. Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. That's the ruling from disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson. However, Commissioner Roger Goodell does have final authority over the ruling. It is unclear if the NFL will appeal the decision. The Atlanta Braves signed star third baseman Austin Reilly to a 10-year, $212 million contract, the most lucrative deal in team history. The team still had 3 additional seasons under club control prior to making the deal. Trade deadline in Major League Baseball today. The Braves have acquired Detroit Tigers outfielder Robbie Grossman. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on Over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour 2, J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Lifted up by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, from Jason Martin at J Mart and Ramon's, where you'll find the show. Josh Ward from Knoxville, next segment. Talk some SEC ball with him. Deshaun Watson's story continues. Obviously, we were running through a list of the suspensions laid down by the league in Roger Goodell's tenure. He's been doing this longer than I remembered, actually.
Me too. I don't remember it being that long on the
So we
job.
went through 2012, and we'd already gone through about 20, probably. 2013, Richie Incognito, indefinite, bullying.
Remember that.
That was a Jonathan Martin thing. Yeah. Josh Brent, 10 games, manslaughter conviction. That'll do it.
He came back and played. I actually played against him. Sure did.
Ray Rice, which is used as one of the big things Sue Robinson based everything on. Indefinite, overturned after 2 months. Domestic violence.
That's all he got. Sheesh.
Adrian Peterson, indefinite, child abuse.
Came back.
Now 2015, Greg Hardy, 10 games, reduced to 4, domestic abuse.
We had images of that, Jay.
No, Hardy probably never should have played again.
We had images of that.
That's always felt terrible to me.
And who signed them, you remember? The Cowboys. They were looking for that next rusher on the edge and everything, man. We saw that one. And the girl testified, if I'm not mistaken. Sheesh. What is this list kind of proving right now, though, Jay? If you have talent, then what? They're going to find a way to put you out there on the field? Like, is that what you want for the league, to try to drive itself through kids? You know what I'm saying? Try to help themselves as far as we're trying to grow the game.
Right. Somebody just said something in chat I had to respond to.
Oh, okay.
People say you gotta also mention he missed all last season too. No, he didn't. He got paid every cent, man. You can't.
That was more of a holdout last year as far as the Sean situation,
That's
right?
That's right.
He wasn't suspended. He wasn't on the commissioner's exempt list. I think they just came to an understanding. Look, you'll just sit this year out. If you mean to tell me, Jay, you get to sit out and make about $10 million on the year, what you gonna do? You probably sit, wouldn't you? Like, yeah, I'm cool. I got nothing. You gonna pay me to not play? All right, cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
that's not a penalty.
Yeah, that is a paid vacation, dog.
He literally, in this entire thing, missing 18 games as it stands, right? Well, no, 23 games, I guess, right? Because he missed a 17-game regular season and then 6 more. It's cost him $350,000.
He wasn't injured. He didn't have to go to rehab, and he got paid a crap ton of money to just basically sit out because the Texans didn't want anything to deal with it. On top of that, you also had the Texans also pay people off too. So I think they were just covering themselves up more than anything.
Tom Brady 4-game Deflategate scandal, which she used as the umbrella in this case. Brandon Spikes, 4 games undisclosed.
I think it was PEDs or something.
Mike Williams, 6 games undisclosed.
Sheesh.
Jonathan Dwyer, 3 games domestic violence. Jermaine Cunningham, 6 games personal conduct policy. Rodney Alston, 6 games guilty domestic violence.
IK.
And IK Enum Polly, 4 games punching and injuring Geno Smith. Is that really? Should that be a penalty?
2 dudes fighting, man. I said he whooped his butt, though, Jay.
Quincy Anunwa, 4 games domestic violence. Joseph Randall, 4 games domestic violence with a weapon.
How can those 2 be the same in the
Yeah.
same year? Domestic violence and domestic violence with a weapon were both 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Derek Coleman, 4 games guilty domestic violence charge. Zeke, 6 games involvement in domestic violence case. Another one of the precedents. Josh Brown, 6 games domestic violence. Roy Miller, 6 games battery arrest. Jameis Winston, 3 games sexual harassment accusation. Jimmy Smith, 4 games emotionally abusive behaviors. Okay. Michael Kendricks, 8 games gailty plea to insider trading. Money.
That guy 8
More. Antonio Brown, 8 games conduct detrimental to the league. So what is Deshaun's exactly? What was AB suspended for specifically?
AB situation was you remember he was throwing furniture off the
That's
building,
right.
and he I don't know if he actually abused. His girl name was Chelsea. I don't know if he ever put hands on her. I know he had those series of outbursts. Conduct detrimental to the league. What is this situation?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think AB was officially charged.
No, I don't either. I think it went away. Mark Walton, 8 games aggravated battery. Darius Geis, 6 games, 3 domestic violence incidences.
Yeah.
DJ Fluker, 6 games undisclosed.
His was from college too. Remember? I think they bulked those in.
Geis was?
Yes. He had situations come back from college.
So all those, and then Deshaun Watson, 6 games, 24 accusations of sexual assault and misconduct.
Interesting, Jay. Very, 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 very interesting on these domestic violence situations. Now, I know that the league is comprised of a bunch of – you got to look at the league like the general population. Like the same issues that, the city of Nashville stats show as far as crimes. I think the NFL kind of has the same about – maybe except for murder and stuff like that. But like regular day-to-day stuff, it kind of has the same amount of stuff that happens stat-wise. How do you do domestic violence this way, and then you have conduct detrimental for throwing a couch over a building that didn't hit anybody when you have, like evidence that this happened 24 different times? And not just that, one of your own members paid off 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the deal, Roger? You know what I'm saying?
Only 5 players have been suspended for gambling. 2 under Goodell. Josh Shaw, Cardinals, I think he's a DB, 2019. He missed the end of the 19 season, the entire 20 season. And then Calvin Ridley's going to miss all of this year. So, yeah. There have been a lot of them. A lot of them are in the 4 to 6 games range. I understand this. I understand precedent, all these things. I also understand that precedent needs to go away when circumstances dictate. Court cases in this country have been overturned. And the argument from the side that doesn't want it to go is, well, it's precedent. Right. Well, precedent can be bad.
Yeah.
Precedent can be real bad. Like, look at the history of the country. Look at some of the early decisions that were made surrounding some of the biggest issues in the history of the country.
Yeah.
And then those got overturned when people realized, the precedent's stupid.
Yep.
And you can then say, yeah, but what about this guy and that guy and that guy? Well, look, we can't go back and fix what may have been wrong at the time. What we can do is make sure that we get it right from now on. That might feel like it's unfair, but that's how it works. You eventually grow. That's like having a position and refusing to change it even if the information changes. Yeah. Like that's not how that works at all. The more information you get, the more experience that you have, your opinion may change from day to day. And if you're smart and you listen to other people, your opinion is often going to change, or at least change a bit, because you're going to understand their lived experience that you haven't gone through.
Yep.
Like whatever they've done, that's going to help you. It might strengthen your point. You may stick to it, or it might weaken it a little bit, or at least be like, hey, I see where you're coming from on this. I'm still on this side of this issue.
Yep.
Whatever that might be. But that's the precedent argument. It's a bad argument.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bad argument, and it helps excuse behavior that shouldn't be there or limit what it's supposed to be.
It's been guys suspended for substance abuse longer than they have for this case right here. And again, I know people are going to hang their hat on the fact that, oh, man, he wasn't found guilty. This is very true. There's a lot of other guys on that list too, Jay, that wasn't found guilty for stuff or were charged for, like Terrell Pryor. He was suspended for something he did before he came into the league. This is the dumbest thing that now we revisit this that you could have ever done to a player. You basically took money out of this rookie's pocket that could have helped the league and got away from the NCAA for something that's now legal. Yeah, I know it's different time, but there's guys that were suspended before they even got into the league. And you tried to punish him as a favor to other leagues because he got away with something in college. That guy tried to sell his name, image, and likeness. Should have been making money off of it anyway. Now that we're fast forward to 2022, but this is a very wild way of suspending and holding people accountable. There's no rhyme or reason to it, Jay. Alden Smith, November 17, 2015, entire 2016 season. Want to know for what? Substance abuse. They'd rather not help you with those types of things, but would rather just suspend you for the entire year. You mean to tell me a guy smoking weed, because that's what he did, was harsher than a guy actually harassing women? LaRon Landry, here's another one, indefinite. Martavis Bryant, 4 games. Taylor Mays, 4 games. Martavis Bryant, entire 2016 season. Will Hill, 10 games. Guys have served longer times, mind you, without getting any assistance in this time, without being mandated to go to rehab, without pay. He got paid for it. And it's, to Robert Mays' point, what do you do moving forward, NFL? I don't think Goodell and his crew are going to do anything much different. 2 more games, yeah.
They may not. I don't think it'll be more than, if they do anything, it's going to be 2 games. And
2 games,
fine.
Yeah. Johnny Manziel even got suspended for 4 games. You know what I'm saying? It's two less than him. Josh Gordon again is on this list, Jay, for another 4 games.
Another pretty bad argument as we go to the break. Josh Ward will join us afterwards that Sue Robinson made in this piece that, or in her documents, that I was just kind of baffled by, was that you can't change all of this kind of stuff without telling the players and telling the league what the consequences have changed. Idea being, if Deshaun knew that this was bad to do this to these women, well, he wouldn't have done that if he knew that could cost him a season of football. You had to tell him that this could be a bad result from this in advance. So I guess we got to sit down NFL players and say, yeah, if you allegedly harass / assault / traumatize 24 women plus, probably don't do that, because that could cost you game time. Because that's bad for the league, especially if you use the fact that you're an NFL quarterback to land those sessions.
Yeah.
We'll come back. Josh Ward will talk to us. We'll shift and we'll talk some SEC football.
Yeah.
DeCourcy wrote a good piece of Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy, on Watson. We'll talk to him towards the end of the 3rd hour. You'll definitely want to hear that conversation. But Josh Ward's next here on The Zone. And I want to talk to you about how you don't want to rent anymore. 21%, I think, is the year-over-year increase right now. Fastest pace in decades. And apartment living. If you've done it and you're out of it, you can tell those people, yeah, I know you want to get out of that. My life's a lot better not being in an apartment. Even though you got more you got to think about, you have less that you have to worry about. Worrying about your music, TV being too loud, noisy neighbors in the middle of the night, parking spot that's not really yours, like it's assigned to you, but if somebody's there, what are you really going to do about it? Maintenance being in your home, all of those things. Instead of sending monthly payments to your landlord's pocketbook, put them to work for you and start thinking about owning your own home. So you got to have the right lender. You got to have somebody that can make sure that this process that maybe you've never gone through before goes smoothly, and that's Mortgage Investors Group. They're the Southeast's leading mortgage lender, committed to making sure that you close on time. that your loan is structured the best way, and they're going to help you make your home buying goals a reality. Go to Zillow, check out 2,600 plus reviews right now. They'll tell you there's a difference when you use Mortgage Investors Group. Go to their website this morning. It's migonline.com. That's migonline.com to find the office nearest you, or text MIG, that's 3 letters, MIG, to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan, equal housing lender, license number 109111. J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. We've heard that in Knoxville a few times.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm just
A couple of times, more so since Heupel than when Pruitt was there.
yeah. Oh,
The offense didn't score a whole lot of points back then.
nah, it wasn't many.
We're expecting to hear. Well, I don't know if you hear it a lot, but you're definitely going to hear a lot of it this year.
Yeah, you should anyhow. And
Things are going to have to go terribly wrong for you not to hear a lot of it this year.
yeah,
You hear this guy every day on our sister station down or over in Knoxville. Stop saying down in Knoxville. Down in New York. Josh Ward's on the line. Josh, what's going on?
I love it.
Hey, good morning. Why do we always say that? We never say up in. We always say down, no matter the direction we're going.
I don't know. I always say down. Now, I'll
down.
say up in New York. Now, if
You're
I'm
not
talking
allowed.
about New York, I think you can get away
Okay.
with it.
Yeah.
But
Down,
people
man.
down,
crush me
down
for
in
that.
San Francisco, I think that's how it's often said.
Yeah, like I got crushed early on because I would say down in Knoxville. They're like, it's not down. It's just like, it's close enough. It's in a direction where it's not here, so I'm just gonna say down. So right now, obviously everybody's talking about Deshaun Watson, so we're gonna pivot and talk about college football at least for a little while here. What's kind of the fervor right now surrounding you guys in Knoxville? Fans got to be pretty excited about where we stand right now.
Fans are really excited. You can see a 7 or 8 second Brew McCoy video and a quick passing drill, and fans are fired up. You see passes on air, and fans are ready to go to see the next man up because Velus Jones has to be replaced. He's a big player to replace on offense, but there's hope that Brew McCoy can make a big impact, and he has some work to do, I think, to be ready to do that, both on the field and they're still waiting official clearance. But there's Jalen Hyatt buzz, and he is a breakout candidate for Tennessee for sure. There's some talk of, okay, maybe the light's going to come on for Jimmy Callaway, and he can be a more consistent contributor. And then there's newcomer Squirrel White, who has a great nickname, and he has a lot of speed and quickness, and that was on display day one at practice. So it is day one, and there's a lot of work to be done. But because of last year and what we've talked about all off season long, now that practice is here and the season is less than a month away, Tennessee fans are very excited.
Being that a successful, good team for any levels based on health, man. And Tennessee got a little snake bitten a couple days ago with Leonard Whitehead's injury, man. Do you have any idea what it was? I saw his upper body, if I'm not mistaken, but, he was expected to have a nice role this year as far as him being a big back. So what's the contingency plan for that position moving forward throughout camp?
Yeah, I don't know full details on the injury, but it's already been confirmed that they're not going to have him back this season. That confirmed by Josh Heupel at his opening camp press conference. So now what? You don't have a lot of scholarship running backs right now. Jalen Wright is also not at full speed. He should be available when he was at practice, but he was not at full speed at practice yesterday. So right now that leaves Jabari Small, who is your starter returning, and a couple of freshmen. Justin Williams-Thomas, who I think is really impressive, and he would be probably the bigger player among this group. And then you have Dylan Sampson, a newcomer, a freshman, who's also impressive. Not as big, but he's quick, and you can see when he gets the football, he can go right away. But that's the end of the conversation. So we were talking about yesterday, if let's say Jabari Small went down today, which obviously nobody wants to see happen, well, that leaves you with a freshman starting and a freshman backing him up. And that's not exactly what you want. So Tennessee is looking at Lynn J. Dixon. He's a transfer from Clemson who then looked at West Virginia and is available. And Jason Swain said yesterday he's available August 1st for a reason. So Tennessee, I think, would present to him, hey, we need help. You're looking for an opportunity. This is a standard within our offense, but we have an opportunity for you to come in and be a part of an offense that can be really successful. And Tennessee does need a veteran presence, and he had some success when he was at Clemson. Lynn is a former Tennessee commit, in fact, from when Butch Jones was the head coach. But those freshmen have to get up to speed. And Justin Williams-Thomas was here for the spring. That helps. And if you ever talk to him, you will be impressed. He is a mature freshman for sure, but that doesn't mean they've learned everything yet. So that would be a question mark at least. Where are they from a depth standpoint? And we've talked about short yardage situations. Do they have a running back that they can hand the ball to and run at a defensive line and get those 2, 3, 4 yards? that'll be another question as the season approaches.
Josh Ward from the Sports Animal in Knoxville joining us here. Josh, I know we haven't talked to you since the NCAA notice of allegations and everything came out. What was your reaction? What was the audience's reaction to it now that we have a little bit more clarity finally on that situation and hopefully can at some point get past it entirely?
Well, I think there are several reactions. One that I saw and heard a good amount immediately from friends of mine who are Tennessee fans was they saw the $60,000 figure and said, "Oh, that's nothing. Let's ignore this." I said, "Well, I don't know that ignore is the right word. First of all, Tennessee's already self-imposed some penalties, so I think they've already not ignored it, which is good, and that was stated by the NCAA, and that stood out to me that the NCAA commended Tennessee for how the program, the school, has handled this internally since letting go of Jeremy Pruitt and announcing what had happened with the investigation. That doesn't mean nothing will happen. Tennessee could self-impose some more penalties. Tennessee should expect the NCAA to tack on something, but I'd be surprised if the hammer comes down. The hammer is the word that's always used with these type stories. I don't think a bowl ban's coming. You could see vacated wins. Most people I know that have heard that said, "What wins?" They barely remember any from those 3 years. So that doesn't seem to be too big of a concern. So overall, considering there were 18 level 1 violations in the report, I think Tennessee comes out okay in this because of how everything's been handled. I think we could still argue should everything have been handled as publicly as it was with the press conference and all that stuff. But part of it was for sure trying to save some money, and I think Tennessee will do that in the hefty buyout that would have been owed to Jeremy Pruitt and at least a couple of assistants there. So I think the other aspect of this that Tennessee's had to deal with was what's the recruiting impact. In a year ago, I think this story created a big challenge. Right now, I don't think it's much of one. Recruits will hear about it. Other schools will bring it up and say, "Hey, did you see that 18 level 1 violations? Big time trouble's coming." But I think the worst is behind Tennessee when it comes to the recruiting impact.
Josh, we speak about the coaches and the assistants and everybody around Jeremy Pruitt being gone from, that era for the most part. They just pretty much got out of Dodge, right, or were let go because of the new staff. The question I have is the players that were involved in this type of situation. I know there was a big exodus of guys leaving last year, whether it be because they didn't think Tennessee was going to be good, they weren't going to fit Josh Heupel's, offense and team makeup, but are they still there? Were they a part of those group of kids that left and went to other schools in the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think the majority of players who would be a big part of this story left. And when you saw that quick exodus from a number of players, if I recall correctly, it's in like a 24, 48-hour period.
Yeah.
It said boom, boom, boom. So it's not difficult at all to connect the dots there. But I don't think everybody left. You can go back to a couple of those classes in the 19-20 range, and while the majority of the highly ranked players from those classes have left, and that would speak to the recruiting that Josh Heupel needs to do because of the rebuilding they have to do from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's gone, and you can also figure out pretty quickly who that would have been. So, I think protecting the players, those who left and those who stayed around, I'm in favor of that because while they benefited, in some ways they're used in the process. So, overall, I'm in favor of Tennessee not having to deal with what the toughest punishment can be, like a bowl ban, because that comes back to punishing the players. And as far as we know, everybody that was involved is no longer with the program, meaning Jeremy Pruitt and his main assistants, and obviously staff moved on. So some minor penalties, maybe some recruiting restrictions in terms of when coaches can be out on the road. You might restrict that a little bit. There might be some more scholarship reductions, but punishing players in terms of eligibility or the program with player opportunity, I don't think that's anything that should be done.
Josh, one thing that we always do is give credit no matter what when it comes down to coaches and their staffs and stuff like that. I think Tim Banks, everybody knows he's run the defense, did a really good job and everything. But on the offensive side of the ball, we don't really speak about this enough as far as the offensive coaches. Alex Golesh is actually the offensive coordinator, but everybody says Josh Heupel's offense. What is, Alex Golesh's role? Like, when you speak to him, does he have an ego about all of the credit going to Josh Heupel? Is it actually him calling the plays? Who's calling the plays offensively? Because Tennessee does have an OC that we really don't bring up enough.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about the staff? Individually, a number of the assistants are really well respected for what they've been able to do.
Yeah.
Stops, and if you look at those, like, under 40 list, something like that. I'd have to check his age now, but Alex Golesh has been on those up-and-coming coaching lists. He's been a really respected guy, and I think he's rising. Coaching with Josh Heupel, I think, is something that will help his resume as well, because they will have seen this offensive success, and if he's learning along the way, then there's going to be a school, I really believe, that will look at Alex Golesh and say, hey, we want to bring him in to be a head coach and see if we can implement what he's learned, whether he's been calling plays or not. And it is Josh Heupel's offense, and that is what they're running, and he's calling plays in the games. But day-to-day, behind the scenes, everything that we don't see, the install, schematic planning, scouting, Alex Golesh is very involved, coaches tight ends, and he came on our show a year ago before Tennessee's first game, and we asked him the question that every fan wants to know. Are you going to involve the tight ends in the offense? And he was ready for the question because he knew of Jason Witten and he knew of players that had success at that position and said, we will. And then they did. Jacob Warren was involved in the offense, and Princeton Fant coming back is an important player in the offense. So, I mean, Josh Heupel's the guy, and it's his system, but Glenn Ellerby coaching the offensive line, the receiver position they had to replace there. That was the one full-time assistant replacement, and Kelsey Pope was very vocal on the practice field. But, Golesh, back to him, the offense coordinator, very respected in the industry, and I think he's a head coach sometime in the next few years.
Speaking of Glenn Ellerby, the offensive line coach, Darnell Wright, highly rated player coming out of high school, is now moved over to right tackle. Why has that happened, number one, but also who's going to be at left tackle? Because the SEC, I'm going to just name one name, Will Anderson. He rushes over the left side, too. So what are we doing there at that position?
Yeah, if you ask me what am I most afraid of, it's that.
Okay.
The left tackle position not getting worked out. And I don't have to explain to you why it's so important. I think anybody that's watching the sport would look to it as well. And if Tennessee's taking shots down the field, then let's say it's J.J. Crawford at left tackle, because I think he's the most likely starter. He needs to give Hendon Hooker enough time. There is a battle there at left tackle. It's Crawford versus Gerald Mincey, a transfer from Florida, but I would give Crawford the edge most likely. Why Darnell Wright to the right side? I think that's probably his more natural fit and where they're more comfortable. They had Cade Mays over there last year, so that combo is pretty good. And Cade dealt with a few injuries during the season, but for the most part, you had Darnell Wright and Cade Mays, who's now an NFL player. A lot more comfort there than Darnell Wright, who they are comfortable with on the right side, but then the left side trying to get it figured out. And then what else would scare me is, what if they deal with an injury? I don't know how deep they are. When they talk about maybe trying to be 7 or 8 deep, I don't know that there are 7 or 8 offensive linemen right now that they're really comfortable being out there on the field. So let's see how that gets worked out, because they are one shot away. They have to play Will Anderson. You're right. B.J. Ojulari is one of the top pass rushers in the league, and Tennessee goes to LSU, and Florida's always going to have guys up front. And one of the things that's being talked about with Pittsburgh, why that could be an underrated team, because they have a bunch of guys up front on defense, and that's what this offensive line is going to have to deal with. Now, I will add, you have now some veterans there at the guard position. So you have Jerome Carvin there on the left side next to that new starting left tackle. That has to help from a communication standpoint, and you have 4 starters returning. So a lot more experience, a lot more understanding of the system and what Glenn Ellerby is expecting out of them. So this can all work out, but if the most important player is Hendon Hooker at quarterback, well then maybe the next most important position is the left tackle to help protect him.
Good stuff, Josh. Always appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much.
You got it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Indeed. That's Josh Ward.
Always concerned on the OL, man, when you're trying to do something nice. I'm just glad we're getting some type of looks, Jay. This usually never happens, man.
Well, I mean, the key to this season is, can you stop anybody?
Yeah.
And that was always going to be the talk with Heupel coming in. There was never really a question as to whether or not his offense could score points. It was how many are you going to have to score to win the games.
Yeah.
And look, there's questions on defense again, but you like Jeremy Banks. and you like some of the mixture. Just guys got to show up, make plays. Eventually, when they put them on the field, they've got to get off the field a couple extra times.
Yeah.
Put you in position to win a few more games, and not make it so Hendon's got to put up 50
Man.
to win all these games.
He made an awesome comment the other day at the start of their training camp. It's like, look, they were asking about, how many yards and stats is Hendon Hooker going to have? He's like, look, this ain't the year to talk about stats. This is the year to talk about wins and losses. And I was actually glad to kind of hear that, because we can all, of course, Jay, paint that picture, listeners, about, he had 500 yards. Well, did you win the game? That's the point. You have 500 yards passing and end up losing by 3 points. Well, what good was the 500 yards or 600 yards of offense, whatever you want to call it? So this year, and I think I'm glad to see Hyper kind of have that concentration of, look, I don't care about the stats. I need W's on that left side of the line. So that was a good point by him. He seems like a guy that hadn't been in the SEC to actually he's understanding what it takes to be respected in this league, man. So we'll see what this season turns into. I'm with him on the left tackle position. You have to get that figured out, considering how much Tennessee drops back. There's only so much you can do to chip away at outside rushers when everybody in the SEC has a really good defensive line,
Yeah. I mean, look, that's what they've had forever.
Yeah.
So,
that's where the NFL comes to shop. They're going to find some rusher. What was number 1 overall pick this year? SEC player, defensive rusher. So you even got to have them picking up guys like the big D tackle from Georgia that went still in the first. Jordan Davis, first round draft. D tackles don't go that high. He's a nose tackle D tackle, but he went high because he played at a high level of ball in the SEC. So you got to make sure you have those guys up front.
Remember how Debo said he didn't want to be running back wide receiver hybrid?
Yeah, that
changed.
What? Why, Jay?
Because he got paid. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. We'll come back and talk about that and all the NFL headlines as well to finish up the second hour. It's Jay Martin Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Jeremy Pruitt's a lump.
Hey, so what we just heard from Brian Rice is true, but this is also true. Wet basement or crawl space means call United Structural Systems today. Might get some storms today. Ramon was telling me that we might get some storms. But it doesn't look like, I'm not so sure we will, but we're going to get some by the weekend. And if you already know if you have a wet basement or crawl space, but it's a problem. 2/3 of the air you breathe in your home coming straight from that area. It's a devaluation thing, and it can give you all sorts of problems with your home down the road. So you got to get it fixed. And before you get it fixed, you got to know who can fix it. So what's going on? Well, United Structural Systems will come out and they'll look at it and they'll tell you what's going on. Is it poor drainage? Is it a plumbing leak? Is it underwater pressure forcing water into your basement? Is it surface water flooding over the walls? You don't know. But United Structural Systems does, and you should know you can trust them to tell you exactly what's happening, not find extra stuff. Just get the job done. You don't pay anything until the end. There's no down payment. Financing available, lifetime warranty, including transferable warranties, repairs guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. USS takes the stress out of home repair. They want to be your solution. They're not going to be another problem. They're going to be as easy to work with as anybody you can imagine. So call for that free estimate. Find out how much it's going to cost to fix from the people I trust. The telephone number is 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275. Or online at USSTN.com. United Structural Systems. Doing that now? Just to bring you right into the show. We're just talking about what we're doing. So, tomorrow night, Bridgestone Arena, Kevin Hart. Extra tickets have become available, so caller 5 right now gets spare. You want to go see Kevin Hart tomorrow? Caller 5, 615-737-1045. Just make sure you can get him. Make sure you can actually pick him up and go. 615-737-1045. Not going to ask you a trivia question. We just got them dropped in our lap, so we're going to give them to you. Pair of tickets, Kevin Hart, 615-737-1045. Fifth caller to Jonathan Schaefer right now. We'll get those tickets for tomorrow at Bridgestone Arena.
I've been to a couple of his shows. He's a really good performer, man, and in person. He does a really good show. If y'all want to go to it, yeah. I would call and get in line for these. Shafe, too bad you didn't tell me about them. I missed K-Dot, too.
Oh, yeah, on Sunday.
I don't care about your problems.
You really shushing me on air?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
Shoosh.
Whoa. What?
Oh, you didn't tell me. No, you if you really wanted to go, you'd already be hooked up.
No,
That's what I'm
God,
saying. If you wanted to go,
you didn't have to give these tickets away, is what I'm telling you, dog. Come on, man. You didn't have to give these away. I could have taken these, man. Sheesh. Yeah, I'm with Andrew. The level of disrespect is high on these streets today, man. Happy Tuesday.
Well, those tickets are about to be gone because way too many people have already gone through. So just go ahead and throw that out there
real fast,
if anybody
man.
was interested.
I hate to have Shafe job right now. Nope, not you. What? I wonder who people like really go at Schaefer about. You're lying. I am calling number 5. I'll be going off like that too. By the way, did we say the lotto winner, billionaire now? I think what they're clear about.
The one in Chicago?
Yeah, $700 million or something. God, dog. What are you doing with $700 million, Jay?
Well, the first thing I'm doing is not showing up where anybody can see my face.
What are you wearing?
When I'm picking it, nobody's going to know. Family, all of a sudden, the family's going to be the only one that knows something's happened because you're not going to hear from me. They're not going to hear from me.
You're leaving the family?
For a while.
Like you?
If I'm that guy in Chicago, I don't know his family. My family, I trust. His family, I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is no one in the city is going to know that I have moved to an island that I just bought.
You getting one of those Bahama?
I'm done. You're not going to know. I'm going to be the guy that's on the radio for the next 6 months working where I'm just like, man, what I would have done with that money.
Just selling
while I'm
it.
Sitting on it.
Just selling it.
Definitely in a paper. I'm definitely wearing a paper bag.
Black gloves.
Top of it. You're not going to know anything.
Shirt.
I'm going to wear like pillows to make it look like I'm fat.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. A clown face, a clown hair on your head. Don't need to know any of your like.
I don't trust any of you people.
Any of it. What's your most outlandish buy? Like, don't say I'm not buying anything because you get that type of money right there. You're going to buy something outlandish. What is something you've always thought about? Like, if I hit that type of lottery, what's just like, yeah, I'm getting it, Jay.
I mean, I guess probably it'd be a car.
Lamborghini?
No. They're not going to be comfortable.
At $700 million?
No.
It doesn't. At $700 million, I'm fabricating a Lamborghini. If Kobe did it, I'm doing it. Shaq can fit in a Lamborghini. We're getting a Lamborghini, Jason. Okay?
I need to sit up higher. I'm going to get sick.
We can pay for your car sickness at that point. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is basically bleep you cash at this point.
I don't really want a Lambo, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You never had a desire for a Lamborghini?
For a Lambo? No. Give me a high-end BMW Mercedes.
Yeah,
Car.
like something,
Aston
a nice luxury car.
We
or
gotta go fast.
a really
guys.
nice SUV.
You can go fast in those other cars,
A
too.
Maserati? Don't get a Maserati, man.
No, I
Don't
don't
get
want a Maserati.
Don't get a Maserati. Come on.
Maserati?
There's so many other levels to it. Like, I like the Italian sports car, what the Maserati represents.
Don't have any
But Ferrari,
Lambo.
I'm
okay with Ferrari.
McLaren.
Yeah. A Lambo's never turned me on. Rather have a Ferrari.
See, then
than
I
to
would
do
just go get the range, right? I'd get the like fully loaded range, and then next year I get the next one, and the year after that I get the next one because that's the only way I buy one. now that I know they don't last.
At $700 million, you got to go get the Rolls Royce
At
color.
$700 million, I'm gonna go get a nice house.
You got to go. That's
All
the
right.
obvious take.
That's
No.
the
I said
easiest take.
just blow with money, Jay. Like what the color then? The Rolls-Royce Cullinan is what. Don't get the range anymore.
Look.
No, that's CG's car.
I get
That's the
700
nanny.
million. I'm changing phone numbers, and none of y'all ever going to see me again.
I feel you. I feel you. But if we see a friggin' Rolls-Royce in your driveway in Gallatin.
I don't want a Rolls Royce.
You say that now?
No, I've seen Rolls Royces.
Oh, my God.
I don't need to have mine stolen in the parking lot like
Hey.
Jackrabbit did.
Dun-dum. But you're getting the Range Rover for your nanny at that point, Jay.
Sure.
Okay? All right, this is what I'm painting. I'm painting the life for Jason right now, okay? Rolls Royce for the nanny.
I go buy the rock. I go buy that T-Rex.
You go get the T-Rex? Yes. You're talking about the
one
the
that upset
skull?
all the archaeologists and paleontologists.
You're doing something just to tick people off.
Just one thing I would get that's just stupid, exorbitant like that, just because I was in the position to do it. Some piece of art. I hate art.
You hate
For the most part, I hate art like appreciation. It's like, oh, he meant this. No, you don't know what he meant. You don't know what he meant.
Yeah,
I'm gonna splotch this sheet.
That.
I'm gonna splotch this sheet of paper. You're gonna pay me $5 million for it. I mean, come on, man. Like I've always felt that way about art. Art's whatever you make of it. But I just go grab the rarest painting I could find,
and
then put it in a garage.
Can I be
and
honest
let it
with
heat
you?
up and ruin it.
I got somebody that gave me some pieces of art. I feel like they're very expensive,
I'm sure they are.
but they're in my garage right
Yeah, who
now because they're
cares?
so big.
Yeah.
They're like 6 feet tall, Jay. And I'm like, all right, I either got to donate these or resell them.
I mean, what I'd really probably do is like, let's go get a really nice place at 30A. Let's go
Okay.
get a place like that, like a side home.
No, Jay, we're going to Malibu then, okay? If we're Malibu, that's
Depends
where
on
we're
where I
going.
wanna
Or the
live.
Hamptons.
But nah,
You're not gonna get it.
I don't want to be
Nah,
around
I'm
those
with
Be
people.
around other people.
I don't want to be around those people.
Well, 30A is around other
I
people.
don't want to be around other people.
Okay, all right. Me, I just got to throw this one out
I'm going to
here.
buy an island, and I'm gonna put the house on that island.
I would much rather rent a house still because then I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to like maintenance it. Like Von Miller's like him announcing he was going to the Bills. That house he was renting was phenomenal in the Bahamas. It was a beautiful looking house. It opened up to the ocean and everything. You had the jet skis out wide. Like, okay, I'd still rent a place there. I don't know if I want to own it there. That's give it to somebody else. The one thing that I would do, private jet. Not a small one, just
Yeah, I understand.
like a 12-seater.
I could understand that.
Would you, Shafe? Would that intrigue you?
Probably the private jet. I can go with that.
I'm
private
fine with
jet.
that.
I'd rather
idea.
have that than the Lambo.
Okay.
I'm not getting a boat.
I'm not getting a boat.
You rent the boat. Still.
Yeah, I don't need.
I'll rent your
want
super yacht.
a boat.
Okay, all right. Would you go super crazy? I know we're like $100,000 a night. Would you rent it?
A boat?
Yeah.
If I had $700 million,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay, all right. That's
Yeah,
I
for
just
a
need to
weekend.
know.
Once, or like I wouldn't do it
You
regularly.
would.
For a weekend?
All right,
Sure.
For sure. All right. For
To
sure.
say that I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Say less. All right. I just make sure y'all would
$700 million, maybe that's a good point. Maybe you buy a golf course.
just buy a golf course.
Means
Really?
you buy a country club.
But then it's the. We'll have to talk about that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be able to play where I wanted.
Yeah. See.
I would
Now
buy the
you're
golf course
thinking
just so I
right.
can go on the golf course and mock the golfers. That's why I would buy the golf course.
615-737-1045. Third hour of the show. More from Titans training camp after the break here on the Zone. So the vault is being opened up at Genesis Diamonds again. I think I've told you about this twice because it doesn't happen very often. And I mean twice through the course of the show we've been doing over the last few years. Largest GIA diamond event ever. Starting Saturday, limited time, all Genesis GIA diamond engagement rings marked down 20%. That's not just 20% from the cost. It's 20% below the Genesis unbeatable price. That means you buy like a dealer buys even more than usual. Deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings. These remarkable savings are on every single ring from half carat to 20 carats, all shapes, rounds, princess cuts, cushions, emeralds, whatever it is you need, they got you. Pear shapes, ovals. All Genesis diamonds are handpicked. They come straight from the diamond cutters. They're graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world. You know their everyday prices are unbeatable at Genesis, but for this event, taking value to a whole new level, additional 20% savings. Don't miss the chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys starting Saturday for a limited time exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit one per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
It is 8:03. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Second day of padded practice today at St. Thomas Sports Park. Training camp for the Titans continues. Rookies Treylon, Burks, and Roger McCreary made notable plays yesterday. They continue to have strong camps. Practice begins at 9:30. Buck Rising Show will be live from camp beginning at 10. Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. That's the ruling from disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson. However, Commissioner Roger Goodell does have final authority over the ruling. It is unclear if the NFL will appeal the decision. The Atlanta Braves signed star third baseman Austin Reilly to a 10-year, $212 million contract, the most lucrative deal in team history. The team still had 3 additional seasons under club control prior to agreeing to that deal. And the Braves did acquire Detroit Tigers outfielder Robbie Grossman prior to today's trade deadline, which is at 5 o'clock this afternoon. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening in hour 3? J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, lifted up by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. AllFourSeasonsGarages.com. Van Jefferson out with the Rams for a couple of weeks. James Robinson's out for months with a fractured foot.
Yeah, Jones fracture.
Yikes.
Is that Derek's and your injury? Yeah. Okay. Jones fracture. Okay.
5th metatarsal. I know what you were about to go through, brother.
It's tough.
Kyler Murray positive for COVID.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
he's got more time to study.
Pete Carroll was positive for COVID also.
Your boy Chris Boswell,
Inked the new
4-year deal.
What a guy. Yeah.
Baker Mayfield was asked about Deshaun Watson yesterday. Said it's not my business. I'm just worried about the installs and getting better week after week, being ready to help this team, taking the high road. And that's right. Like, there's nothing else for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know he wants to say some stuff.
Yeah.
But he'll get his opportunity in week 1 against Jacoby Brissett.
Boy, if they beat them. Goodness, if they beat them, you want to talk about the ultimate payback. How much trash is he going to talk?
You don't even have to say anything at that point. Like, if you beat him at that, you just roll right along. I enjoyed my time there. Then behind the mug, you're like, glad I'm out of there.
Glad I'm out of there, man. A lot of good stuff coming out of Titans camp yesterday, too. Roger McCreary seems to be that guy. And also, I just got to throw this out there. I always look at, we always talk about the draft picks and the guys that's been there for a little bit. But I got Jimmy, man, wrote yesterday that undrafted free agent Reggie Roberson, man, had a really good day yesterday at the wide receiver position. So the team is always made up of superstars and guys you know and love, but it's the undrafted guys that kind of make their hay in this league too, man. So I just wanted to give a shout out for him. He's out of SMU. He said he's been making plays for the last 5 days. I just want to throw that name out there on the radar for the people who pay attention to that type of stuff, man, because he'll be a guy you just never know, kind of carve out a role for himself, or he might just do enough to get himself on practice squad. But through the first few days of training camp, Reggie Roberson, man, has kind of made a name for himself. Just got to give a little yee call to the undrafted guys,
Sure.
That's every once in a while or something like that.
Well, you never know. I mean, look, Naquan.
Well, yeah.
Another example in recent memory of just somebody you weren't expecting. And sometimes it's a later draft pick, but it's always nice to see the UDFAs.
Yeah, kind of make a way for themselves. Training camp is what it was, man. The first day of camp usually has there ever been a report of the offense getting ahead of the defense in training camp? First day in pads, it just usually never happens. I do know why. So many moving parts around offense that have to connect in order to make one play. Whereas one disruptor on the other side of the ball can really ruin a whole period for a team. We're seeing yesterday the Big Jeff was batting down balls during the passing period. Naquan was. It's just a whole bunch of that stuff that kind of makes the offense a little stagnant. Connecting on routes when wide receivers get a little physical. I was hearing also that our guy from UCLA, Kyle Phillips, has been tearing the young guys apart. I think Buck went through this a little bit yesterday on his show as he was at practice. So much so that Kevin Byard jumped on him. He was like, all right, you do my young guys like this, I got something for you. And basically just bullied them for the most part, man. So that says a lot about Kyle Phillips. I don't know what this is going to turn into as for him, as far as his role with the team. But to have a seasoned all-pro veteran like Kevin Byard kind of jump into the mix and say, all right, do what you did to them against me. And he held his own, but apparently it was still a penalty on Kevin Byard. He was just out to prove a point. Look, this is what you do to young guys trying to show you up, and he's got the stock to kind of actually do that type of stuff. And his track record has proven that he does lock guys down, man. So, or at least knock guys out or release the ball from the catch. So, good for Kyle Phillips. I don't know what his role going to be though, Jay.
I don't either. The one thing that like I've seen and where it's just like, oh, Kyle Phillips gonna be a day one starter, like easy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know yet. You don't know. You've never watched him play. You didn't spend time breaking down film with him at UCLA. Everybody at this time thinks all the draft picks, some of them are going to bust. Some of them are going to end up being great.
Yeah,
that's the way it is for every team in the league. Kyle Phillips might be great.
Yeah,
Treylon might be great. Roger McCreary might be great.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know yet.
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
No, we don't.
So you can get excited about it, but always realize it's very limited information right now.
And the thing about camp is this, too. It is the longevity of it. Like, we all get excited for this, especially for the young guys where you're like, man, they're going to be our next great player. And then you realize, like you just said, camp has just started.
Mm-hmm.
He's fresher than most. He's young and don't know what he doesn't know right now. And can he do it again and again and again and again, day after day after? I always tell people camp is the role of recognizing that, one, you got to do it every single day. You got to get up. You got to go practice. You got to handle the physicality of it. You got to go to meetings and stay tuned in. You got to stay focused, and you can't deny yourself too. And throw all of that in before you even get to the field. And then you get out there, and it's the mindset, look, some days you get the bear, and some days the bear gets you.
Sure.
And how in the heck do you bounce back from those type of days is what these young guys got to kind of find themselves out of. It is. It's 100% him, because right now everybody's championing him on as far as the anti-Tannehill crowd. You know what I'm saying? That looks at him and says, sheesh, I hope we have our savior behind him. What if we can put Malik in? Well, Malik got to kind of fight his way out of his own way for a little while. He's got to fight himself out of being a guy that knows how to throw NFL open, being a guy that learns how to hit the short passes, being a guy that honestly can handle a little bit of failure too. Like, that's the part in which he's got to navigate himself moving forward throughout this training camp, and really just hushing the crowds that's kind of, championing him on, kind of cheering him on to be the guy. No, this is Tannehill's team. I need to watch and learn as much as I possibly can about this offense and about these wide receivers that I never knew before. And that's the beauty of what NFL training camp is, man. It's so intricate. You don't have to go to classes. You don't have to do anything else but lift, practice, and learn. Those are the things, and realize a bad day doesn't mean it's a bad day. It's a learning type of day, and that's what these young guys are starting to figure out. The one adjustment that I had to realize was you don't know everything. Like, looking at Byard, I'm sure Byard going against Kyle Phillips was one of those, no matter what Kyle Phillips does at wide receiver, I'm going to shut it down. You try to speed me, I'm going to hold you. Because why? Coach ain't going to call it on his all-pro safety. It is hilarious to watch older guys, and I was in that position too, where coaches would be like, all right, he's been having a good day. Now shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, guys do, Jay. It's comical because they can beat a rookie on rookie 9 times out of 10. But as soon as the vets step up like Kevin Byard, and just kind of shuts him down, even if it was a penalty. It's not really to Kevin Byard. It's to show his young guys, this is what you need to lean into. You keep you stay close to him. This is how you hold them in those positions. Like, it's so much revolving around that. But it's good to see Kyle Phillips kind of, causing a little chaos. You need that at that position because that's one of the main ones with the Titans we're looking at and saying to ourselves, well, what is it going to look like throughout the season?
Yeah. And look, there are many, and one of the first things I learned when I started going to camps early in my career, and hopefully I'm going to get out this year, is some dudes that just balled out in camp in preseason look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like, I don't know what I saw for the last 4 days in camp, but it didn't translate.
Yeah.
And then some guys that didn't necessarily have great camps went out and had great preseasons.
Yeah.
So there's just a whole lot of it's day to day. Take the W's as they come, expect some L's, expect some setbacks.
Yeah.
Don't let them get you too high or too low. Just kind of stay there. Don't overreact or underreact to what you're seeing. It is what it is.
And can we agree that every interception in practice isn't going to be an indication?
I just don't care, man. I really don't. I've heard some people like, we're going to pay attention when he throws picks. And no, we're really not. I'm not.
But yeah, we'll get more into. I see Tighten Up McCreary asking about, Aaron Brewer and everybody else. That he's tougher than a $2 steak.
Okay, Jim Ross.
It's gotta translate on the field on game day too.
Well, that's what Vrabel said the other day.
He did.
Yep.
He said it's got to translate over.
Well, the $2 steak line. He said
that's why I heard him kind of say that.
Still Jim Ross.
Is that's Jim Ross's?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he invented it, but he's the one that's
I
would say most famous in pop culture for saying it over the last 20 years.
I guess
30 years.
The question we would probably field to the crowd, Jay, almost in a sense. What position are you most worried about in watching this?
Perfect question to ask. 615-737-1045. It's a wide open segment. Then we'll have Mike DeCourcy at the end of this hour to talk a little of the Deshaun Watson piece where he annihilated Sue Robinson yesterday. But yeah, what position has you most concerned right now, or are you most interested in at this point on this Titans team? We'll take your thoughts on that when we come back. Jay Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool? Well, don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your own home. It's Ramon Fawson. I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all your HVAC needs, and they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs also. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months, no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. They also back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer is at its hottest, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
Welcome back, Jay Martin and Ramon 104.5 His Own Position you're most concerned / interested in, or the player. You can take that wherever you want. O-line has been mentioned, which of course it has. It's still my answer.
Yeah, mine too.
John in the borough. John?
What's up, John?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
So my position that I'm looking at is quarterback, and it's not for the reason that most people think.
Why is that, John?
Well, because our fan base is largely dumb and hasn't forgiven Tannehill for the playoffs yet. So if Tannehill comes out and struggles in the first couple of games, what are they immediately going to do?
Yep.
Put Malik in, even if Malik's not ready. And then when Malik struggles, because he's a rookie, Malik's terrible. This team's terrible at drafting quarterbacks. It's a vicious cycle. And it happens to most teams, it really does. But our fan base, again, a vast majority of them are loud and stupid, and that's why, instead of just riding it with Tannehill for a little bit and letting Malik get used to it and grow and learn, they're gonna want to rush Malik into the system.
Fair point, though. John, I didn't say it. John said it, okay? We didn't say that, Jay. He makes a valid point, though. Everybody loves the backup until the backup sucks, too. And then you're looking for a new guy.
He's a suckish quarterback.
So what did he say? Coach B said suckish or selfish?
I thought he said suckish.
He's a suckish quarterback.
No, he said suckish.
He said
suckish.
suckish quarterback.
All right, one more time.
He's a suckish quarterback.
Yeah, he said suckish.
Suckish.
That's right.
That's cold.
Which
right
sounds
there.
like this.
Suck it.
That's what it sounds like.
He just turned it into his own word.
That's right.
John has a great point there, though. I mean, this is low hanging fruit when it comes to discussing Ryan Tannehill and last year and everything around him, man. There's a lot of people that will not forgive him. There's a lot of people that's waiting for that ball to drop into the opponent's hands. That is a part of it. But I think at this rate where we're at right now, Logan Woodside is probably more prepared than Malik is. You know, as far as just throwing somebody out there, having somebody that's prepared for the job. And do you want that? And respectfully, I say that to Logan Woodside, but he hasn't had a whole lot of live reps. The optimism around Malik is he can be the savior, but he's not ready to be that guy yet. There's a whole lot that goes into it, and you just continue to chase the quarterback, and you mess up and end up like the Cleveland Browns, and you don't want that.
All right. Can I throw the wet blanket on everything?
Yeah, where are we at?
Quit looking at this kid as the savior.
Oh, yeah.
I understand the excitement. I understand the desire, why you think he may be or could become the franchise quarterback. Again, don't pump your tire so hard, so much. Just take a breath and see what he can do, and that it's going to take some time.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually, statistically, it's more likely he's not.
Yeah.
Because so few are. Doesn't mean he can't be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying you have a good quarterback playing for your team right now.
Yeah, you do.
And you have every reason to still be butthurt about the 3 interceptions from the playoff game if you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy can play.
Yes.
He can. Because his track record with this team shows that he can.
Yeah.
Now, you can make the whole Derrick Henry is the fine. Complimentary football. That's what you've heard from Mike Vrabel from day one.
Mm-hmm.
But just pump the brakes for those saying Willis is going to be the savior. He may not.
Simmer down.
Just, I mean.
How deep I gotta dig for you to pipe down?
I appreciate the excitement.
Yeah,
I
me
want you to
too.
be excited. And he has shown skills and traits in college that makes you excited. But just breathe. Oosa.
Luckily, most people don't seem like they're expecting him week 1.
Yeah.
And are going to give him the opportunity. He was drafted to hopefully be your future.
Yeah.
But we have no idea.
At our Twitter account at @JMartinRamon, you can call us, tweet us, get in the chat too about what your concerns are. Just saying, it's the name on Twitter. It says concerns, kicking game, place kicking, still going with the Randy ? Do we have a punt returner currently on this team, someone explosive? As far as yesterday, kicking in pads, even though it was, shoulder pads, Jim Wyatt had Randy Bullock going 7 out of 8 in field goals. But he said he didn't get the distances since he watched from behind that period. So it'll be very interesting to see how that kind of turns out for Randy. Anybody out on Randy? I didn't think so.
Not inside of 50.
No.
I'm not out on Randy.
And not inside of 50.
Yeah, I'm
I feel better
all in.
inside of 45.
Yeah. Was that a?
No,
well,
you said.
No, I was repeating
back
what
in the
Shake
day.
said.
Inside 45. That was his spot.
That
I'll
was.
amend that with Jason. I'm more comfortable with him inside of 45.
Yeah, that's where he was.
I'm still all right.
Always
inside of 50.
Always fight for the extra
Outside
yard.
of 50, not comfortable at all.
No dice.
No.
Punt it.
Doesn't mean he can't do it, but
Definitely doesn't mean you
my
can't do
confidence level goes down as the yardage, the distance goes up.
This ain't Tucker, is what you're saying.
Well, who is?
Yeah, well, Chris Boswell seems to be that guy.
He's
now.
close. I mean, look, I like Boz. He ain't Tucker.
No, he ain't Justin Tucker at all.
And Boz would even tell you he ain't Tucker.
Justin Tucker is one of the few place kickers that coaches have said, yeah, that guy could potentially be a Hall of Famer. Can you imagine that being the case, that he's automatic from 3 points? But let's say this. Let's not act like Randy Bullock didn't save this team some wins last year. He made a few key moments, a few key kicks to keep this team in games, and also some game winners with an S, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Well, you don't get a 1 seed without Randy Bullock.
no, you do not,
don't.
sir. No, you don't, man.
Or someone in his place that does the same thing.
You gotta
have a kicker.
Yeah.
Point
And he was
being-
better than I think most people thought he might be, and he was more consistent than the year before in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Point being, you got enough production out of that
Definitely.
position
Yeah.
that you needed.
Return game. I actually looked up Adory's return game.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like he was running scared, though, but he was fast to get around
he's
whatever's
fast.
coming his way. The one clip I saw, like he had a punt return for a touchdown, but ended up getting called him back. He was fast. Who's the quick twitch guy? To me, it honestly seems like Kyle Phillips.
That would be the guy that you
Yeah.
most would look at right now.
Look, if you can, go to Jim Wyatt's
Trenton
Twitter
Cannon's going to
account.
be another person.
Trenton
competing
Cannon?
For, yeah.
Hey, the way Kyle has looked at it, and I'm not trying to be on the bandwagon for him, but that kid got some quick twitch. And I told you, I saw him like last week when I popped in, and they call him small, like he's a little dude. I've heard a lot of people say, man, he looks like he could work at.
Rhett made that point.
Yeah, and
Rhett
I'm not-
said he's almost never seen a football player that small.
Well, and maybe in street clothes, maybe. And I can see how you, but when he had on like the football attire, he had his shirt rolled up and he had his quads like show. I was like, this dude is actually built pretty well, man. Not to go down that route, but he was put together well. Is the way I kind of saw him. Like he plays football. I mean, you can tell. He's not just a regular Joe. Like height-wise, yeah, being around other dudes, yeah, he looked like your little brother. But I actually thought he had a little bit of mass to him, and I just want to give him a little bit of that credit. We'll see this too, how he take hits in camp, how he take hits in the games. So we're going to get our answers, if not for his size, how tough he is at his size, though, too. So Rhett has a good eye for that type of stuff, so I'm not denying that. I just want to give him a little bit of credit to let people know he's not your little brother tagging along more than anything.
Right.
So,
No matter how big he is, if he's fast and he can stay healthy
hey,
and he can make plays.
people used to say all the time, man, that guy runs scared. Well, can you catch him? You know, that's the
Too slow.
real. Hey. I thought we were over that. We're not
Fire
over
too
that?
slow.
I gotta say, I'll run a 40
Everything
again.
lives forever on this show. This show's immortal.
Everybody. You remember that?
Yeah, we remember it. Yeah, it hadn't been that long. It's been since Tannehill because I think it happened as a result of that.
Everybody hurts. After this week, I'm sure training camp, the boys are going to be getting massages. Trying not to hurt as much, man. Everybody hurt.
Including our ears.
That was a great key right there, okay? Everybody heard.
Francis got off key right there.
I thought that was a good note, Shave. I held it well.
It was a note.
To stop.
I'm just saying it was a note.
It was a note to stop. Everybody heard.
Of all the notes I've ever heard, that was certainly one of them.
I hear you, man. Scott, yes, Michael Burge, I will do karaoke. Always the O-line need to protect the quarterback, open holes for the running back. Hassan Haskins getting a little bit of praise, although from Jim White said he got popped by Larrell Murchison and who else was it that kind of got him a little bit? Larrell kind of popped him in the running back drill. Oh, Zach Cunningham. But it is what it is. This is what camp is all about, man. It was Joe Jones and Larrell Murchison had a nice stop on him. So defense is always ahead because it's more about control chaos aside from like precision of the game that the offense. So that's not really a worry for me. If your defense didn't have a good day on day one in pads, I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah, defense, it's easier for the defense to gel than an offense to get back in sync with timing and routes, throwing platform, schedule, all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's a tougher ask right there. So this left guard position, people have been consistently asking about those two guys. That's Jamarco Jones and Aaron Brewer. Who's going to win that position? It seems to me that it's probably going to be Aaron Brewer's to lose. I know Vrabel's a fan of him. I know the kid has worked his butt off. I know the kid – I keep calling him a kid like I'm just that much older than him. I know the guy, Aaron Brewer, that is, he mentally probably as strong as you can get. The physical aspect of just the way what he was born with, his size, I don't know what is he, 6'1", 6'2", like 280, 290, maybe borderline 300. He's going to see a lot of people come at him, man, as far as try to bully him. He needs to be able to work, make sure, one, his technique is A1. He needs to also make sure that he has to fight and maintain his weight throughout the entire year. The good news is this. You're going up against Naquan, you're going up against Tier, and you're going up against Jeffrey Simmons every single day. If there's questions to be asked about Aaron Brewer's toughness, it's going to get answered before they play a preseason game. He should be one-on-ones all day long. The value in him is what is he doing in space? You know, the Titans run right, run left, and what is he going to look like on the combo blocks with Taylor? So Jamarco Jones looked like an athlete the other day when I saw him, but I didn't see him in pads either. So it'll be very interesting to see how he lasts throughout camp in this primary role because we all know Roger took took the lion's share of the snaps last year, I guess, when Aaron was in those positions to be a backup. Now, as a starter, or the guy that's getting the first shot at left guard, I want to see how he maintains and recover every single day. This is a huge battle for me between Jamarco Jones and between Aaron Brewer. I love to know what this fan base thought about one or the other. I've seen some of them say he's too small. Well, I played with a guy that was 280 sometimes when he weighed in, almost 270. But he also played center where there wasn't a whole lot of one-on-ones. I think you talk to almost any offensive lineman or any coach that studies it, you can hide an undersized center better than you can a guard. Guys deal with that position a whole lot more differently because you're going to have mostly 300-pound D tackles or guys that are very heavy in the way they play the game. So we'll be getting reports and watching that from afar this year throughout this camp and how Aaron Brewer kind of holds up because who was it we had on from PFF? Was it Sam or was it Palazzolo? As of recently, they were speaking about the Titans pass pro. They had a whole lot of pressures last year, a crap ton of them. As much as they did offensively, they had a lot of pressures, and you can't afford to have it. I know Nate had a few last year, and now you got an air quotation mark undersized guard at left guard. This is going to be very interesting to see how Brewer handles it, and not just that, how they handle the passing game, because you can hide a guy for so long, you know, before he has to be put in one-on-one situations. I'll say this team can also scheme up who's getting those 101 matchups throughout the day. So if he's getting 5 of those by himself, how many of those is he winning throughout the season? Per game. I'm watching that one for sure.
So,
Jamarco 6'1", 274. No way that's his roster weight and height.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me look this up on Titans.com. I didn't realize that.
293 is what it shows on one thing I see. I see 6'4", 293 on his Seahawks page.
This is the Titans, if I'm not mistaken, updated roster. Number 55, 6'1", 274.
Okay, well, Seahawks have him 6'4", 293
Do they really?
on their webpage.
Seahawks did?
Yeah.
No, I was talking about Aaron Brewer.
Oh, no, I was talking
Yeah.
Jamarco Jones. Sorry.
Yeah, Aaron Brewer, 6'1", 274.
He's a small guy for that position.
Are you concerned? Yeah, the Titans also have Jamarco Jones, 6'4", 293.
Yeah, that's right. When we come back, we will have Mike DeCourcy, who savaged what happened yesterday with Deshaun Watson over at the Sporting News. We'll chat with him about that. And then a 4th hour with Ron Slay. So, it's Jay Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 is on, finishing up third hour. Still fourth one to go with Ron Slay. About a half hour from right now, hopping in. We go to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline here on EO program. Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News joining us this morning. Mike, how are you?
I'm well, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Pretty good. So what are your thoughts on Sue Robinson?
You know, the best way I could sum it up was to point out that I compared her to Urban Meyer, who, as a college football coach, winning football games was his thing. He won over 85% of his college football games, won 90% at Ohio State, gets to the NFL, goes 2-11, gets fired. So the resume was great.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to him talk football on Fox or BTN, I mean, he was fabulous in that venue, but he got to the NFL and he was bad at it. Yeah. And Ms. Robinson's resume is fantastic. Former federal judge, University of Penn law graduate, all that stuff. But she did a terrible job here. To find, essentially, in her words, that the conduct that Deshaun Watson engaged in was outside the bounds of the NFL's conduct policy, to put it mildly, and then to suspend him only 6 games. Mm-hmm. Based on what has happened to others in the past who have been outside that personal conduct policy is absurd. Yeah. The NFL was right in asking for the severe punishment that they did, and she was wrong not to deliver something at least close to it.
When you look at this, from the day he was signed all the way in, they knew something was coming. And as far as this mutual arbitrator, was she a mark? And I'm not trying to criticize her or her career, but did the NFL and the NFLPA know she either didn't know enough, didn't have enough knowledge in it, or the fact that she would rule like a regular civilian that doesn't watch football when it comes down to this type of stuff? So was she a mark in having her overlook this?
I don't think so. I think she came to the correct conclusion on the facts, but the exact wrong conclusion on the punishment. And I think that I don't know where she got the idea that personal conduct in the past has not been punished significantly. There have been times, obviously, when the NFL botched it. I mean, Ray Rice case being the most, high-profile one. But then you look at Kareem Hunt's penalty, which was 8 games when it was originally delivered. Yeah. You look at Ezekiel Elliott's penalty, which was 6 games when originally delivered. Ben Roethlisberger's was 6 games when originally delivered. Relative to those circumstances, which were all not great circumstances, I think this one was more severe and should have been treated more severely.
So was it because because that's the way we all look at it, and I know we're public perception of it all, but the 24, and then they only present her with 5 cases, and 4 were the ones that I guess that had been interviewed more severe or were plaintiffs. Why that? How come she couldn't look at the entire picture and they only gave her an appetizer to this case?
Yeah, Ramon, that's an answer I can't provide. And,
wow.
And no one from the NFL has volunteered that information. No one covering the league at a high level has indicated why that was the case. But if you look at what she found, even just in that number of cases, and I think although she was only presented with 4, I think based on the way this works, I mean, this is not a court of law. I mean, she can consider, okay, I know these 4 I find to be credible. So then you look at the broader case, and those other 20 settled, or the other 19 of the other 20 settled, whatever the number might be. I think this is pretty bad. We gotta go more toward the NFL side here. And again, that doesn't mean he has to get 16, 17 games, but it certainly should have been more than 6 and no fine. Let's not forget, no fine. He had to pay all these legal settlements, but he got no fine from the league.
Mike DeCourcy, Sporting News, with us. Mike, do you think that the NFL is going to do anything here? Like, do you think there's going to be any kind of a change to 8 games, or maybe that's the move is we're going to fine them, and that's going to seem like they've actually been tougher on this and all this, because we know what the messaging has been. They wanted indefinite, they wanted a year, they wanted all these things. They weren't going to settle for less than 12. Well, now it's sitting at 6. Do you see a universe where Goodell tries to get it to 8 or anything else? Because then it's perceived, whether or not it's legit or not, it's perceived that they're being tougher on Deshaun Watson.
Oh, no, I think the question that they have to ask, really, Jay, is what they have to ask is what is the calculus of the concern on the one side that you might be taken to court by Watson and or the Players Association, most likely both. And also, there's the assertion from some that they're undermining the disciplinary process they created with the NFLPA on its first lap around the track.
Yeah.
That's on one side. But on the other side, millions of women, literally, and men who support those women in their viewpoints, who are offended by this and may turn away from the NFL as a result. I know people very close to me who have suggested that if there's not some activity from the NFL, remember they have until Thursday morning, it's 2 days from now basically, 48 hours from right now, that they have to decide whether or not to appeal this, and then the appeals process basically goes through Goodell. So if they decide in those 48 hours that they don't want to challenge this ruling for the reasons I put forth, then they risk alienating millions of female football viewers. And do they really want to do that? They've had enough problems in the past, for instance, the Rice circumstance. They've had enough problems with that do you want to go down that road again? There were some really high-profile journalists, respected journalists yesterday who hung this circumstance on the NFL. I didn't think that was fair. That's why my column was pointedly critical of Sue Robinson, because this is not the NFL's decision now, but if they don't do something by Thursday morning, then it will be.
Yeah, and so just moving forward, you say, does the NFL do something? Jason and I were discussing this earlier. Does Roger go against his bosses? Meaning, does he actually put a steeper suspension or fine on basically the golden egg of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland?
Well, let's not forget, I mean, he put 4 games on Tom Brady, who's the biggest celebrity in the history of the league, over Deflategate. So I don't think that it would be unprecedented for him to do that. I know that that's something that is looked at. Would he go against his bosses, so to speak? Yeah. But I think it's more so, does he want to challenge the Players Association over this? One, they really clearly strongly believed that he deserved more games. I mean, they made a very strong case publicly and privately for that. But so if you don't go after this decision, then you're risking alienating a lot of people who love NFL football. And I mean, even people who love it might turn away. Yeah. We've seen fans turn away from various sports in the past for various reasons. Why give them a reason to turn away? At least take your shot. I don't think the cost to a league that has as much money as the NFL does would be that profound if they took on Deshaun Watson. And I'm talking about financially, if they took on Watson and the Players Association.
Yeah. So if you had to bet 30 seconds, what do you think is going to happen within the next 48 hours?
That is a tough call. I think they will challenge it. That's my guess. It's just a guess. Maybe that's more of a hope, but I just can't see how they can let this stand in its present circumstance.
Great stuff, Mike. Thanks for a couple minutes of your time, as always.
Thanks, Jane Moan. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Indeed. That's Mike McCourcy, the Sporting News. We will come back. I'll take issue with one thing he said there at the end, not in the last answer, but in the next to last answer. I don't think it's going to cost him any fans. I don't.
Yeah.
I wish we lived in a universe where it would. I wish we lived in a universe where, and I'm thinking about it from my own perspective, I'm still going to watch the league. I know it's my job, but even if it wasn't my job, I'm still going to watch the league. And I know I'm not in the minority. I'm in the vast majority. I wish I had the spine to say no to the NFL, but I love football. The country loves football. And until we're all willing to stand up together en masse and make it hurt, and for that to happen, it takes a lot of people to do this. It can't just be you and your neighbor.
Right.
You take a stand, then you're just missing football, and it's not going anywhere. It doesn't hit their bottom line.
Right.
That's part of it. 615-737-1045. Fourth hour to come. Ron Slay, 20 minutes away here on The Zone.
9:03, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Second day of padded practice today at St. Thomas Sports Park. They're going to get underway here at about 9:30. The Buck Rising Show will be live from camp beginning at 10 o'clock. Deshaun Watson will serve a 6-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy following accusations of sexual misconduct. That's the ruling from disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson. However, Commissioner Roger Goodell does have final authority over the ruling. It's unclear if the NFL will appeal the decision. Atlanta Braves signed star third baseman Austin Reilly to a 10-year, $212 million contract, the most lucrative deal in team history. And the Braves acquired Detroit Tigers outfielder Robbie Grossman prior to today's trade deadline set for 5 o'clock today. They're expected to make at least one other move. Wrong Foundation Repair and Waterproofing needs. Visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on Over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening, fourth hour? Hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is here. Blessed to bring to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. AllFourSeasonsGarages.com. Go there to learn more. Ron Slay, next segment.
Yeah.
Couple of things here. John Glennon, this is from Todd Downing. Where Malik's development will take off is when he starts to see things for a second or third time, gets more comfortable facing new challenges. Right. He's developing.
Uh-huh.
And as you see, it's the same thing as going through a batting order the first time as a pitcher. And then second or third time, the batters understand the pitcher a little bit better.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the same kind of deal. It's like, oh, now it's the second time through the order.
Yeah.
Now what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. It's okay to strike out, basically, right? Is what he's saying?
I mean, eventually you'll get hits.
Yep.
Also said, excited to see Treylon Burks' growth. Great job taking the coaching points we're giving him, applying them the next time he's out there. That's all you can ask for from a young guy is when I add something new to the toolbox and say, you need to know this, and you come back out and you start to show some of that, that means that you're picking up day by day what's happening.
Exactly what we're dropping down, 100%, man. And that's what people who are not eager to boot Ryan Tannehill out of the driving seat is pretty much been asking for is just give me time. Give him time. We don't know what this is going to look like in a year or half the season, honestly. I do believe Ryan Tannehill will have a better year. And I know what everybody's going to friggin' say. It doesn't matter unless he does it in the playoffs. I'm with you, but finding a franchise quarterback is a hard thing to do. So much so we're looking at Cleveland that pretty much paid top dollar for a guy just to get a guy. You know what I'm saying? After having a top 5 pick with Baker Mayfield. So that ought to tell you how hard it is at that position to find the guy. Mm-hmm. For the times right now in Nashville, y'all can push back on it all you want to, but Ryan Tannehill is the guy. He's the guy for the job right now. And like I said, me personally, I've kind of stood on the stance that I think he's going to be here next year too. That's where I'm sitting at right now. I think he got one more year left in him here because he will, in my opinion, have a good year this year. It's got to be highly justifiable for you to let him go or say Malik's ready. It's which one? What is the most likely thing to happen next year or this year? I think it's Ryan Tannehill have a better year. To say Malik ready, you find yourself chasing it.
If he loses his playoff game, he's out of here.
Still.
I think it's that simple. I think he can go 16-1.
Mm-hmm.
Go and lose his first playoff game.
Yeah.
Now, if he goes and plays well in the playoff game and the team loses, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But if he goes out, has a couple of interceptions, isn't key to that win, you've got to let him go.
So what's the goal at the end of it all? as always, the goal is the Super Bowl, right? If he's one and done in the playoffs, I mean, he still made the playoffs, you know? And that's all you're actually asking is, get us in the show. And the show is the playoffs. I think we'd almost be neglectful, Jay. We'd almost just be living in a fantasy land if we said, right now this team is stacked to actually make that deep run because you just got so many young guys offensively that you got to find ways to. And not saying that you can't.
You've got to win the division.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to which one of you answers the what-if questions between you and Indianapolis better. Because you both have things that need to be addressed. You both have good football teams, but you have question marks that are concerning going into the year. And that's it.
You have people in the chat agreeing with you. Tyler said agree. Tannehill is here next year unless he loses a playoff game.
Right. He can't lose another playoff game on his arm. If he goes out there and throws
him. Okay, that's what y'all mean.
What I'm saying is
him.
if he goes out there and throws 350 yards, right?
Yeah.
Has 2 touchdowns, they lose a game 41-38 or something. The defense is off in that game.
Yeah.
You're not going to dog out Tannehill in the same way.
Right.
That's different. But if he goes out there and plays like, for example, Aaron Rodgers did in the game right after Tannehill played his game on January 22nd.
Yeah.
Where he was terrible. He can't do that because he's not Aaron Rodgers.
Because he's not
And
Aaron
because
Rodgers.
the reason he's really still here right now, I think, at least one of the crucial reasons, is because of the cap number.
Yeah.
And because of the dead cap hit that would have come from releasing him this offseason. Next year, that's not the case anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said, I don't know, 3 months ago probably, maybe 4 months ago, one of them, 17 or 22, is not here next year.
After seeing 22 in person,
I feel like they're going to be stubborn about moving from Derek.
Derek's probably here.
If Derek gets
more
hurt
than
this year,
likely.
all bets are off. He gets hurt again, then we got to address that problem.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is, I saw this in the chat. Malik needs 2 years of development.
Yeah.
He may not get that. To those people wanting him to be the future 3 years from now, I don't know.
Who's waited that long to take it over? Not even.
Well, I mean, A-Rod sat for a little while, and it has happened, but it's changed. This stuff has changed.
But A-Rod had a Hall of Famer in front of him.
Yes,
too.
he did.
Yeah.
He did. If Malik is not ready to take over next year, I guess you could keep Ryan, or maybe you go with a different bridge guy. I don't know. I just think that if you get to the playoffs and 17 lets you down in that moment, eventually you got to stop running into the same wall.
Yeah.
Eventually you got to take a different pathway, or try to take a different pathway from what you had.
We're even saying the 49ers pretty much do the same thing to Jimmy G.
And that dude's gone to 2 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl since being acquired there.
Now you got me feeling uneasy about my prediction. I'm feeling a little uneasy considering you just said that. He did take him to 2, Jay.
I mean, he was a quarter away from taking them to a second Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they were right there with the Rams.
And a pass away from winning one.
Correct.
Pretty much.
He hits Emmanuel Sanders. They probably beat Mahomes in that Super Bowl.
God, dog. So quarterbacks that's been projected as starters that didn't take it after year 1.
I mean, you tell me. I mean, this used to be a thing where you sat for a time.
You used to.
But that's not the accepted way anymore. I mean, look how many of the rookies are expected to start over year after year. This year might be a little different, but this year's class didn't get drafted.
Yeah, to be day
Last
ones.
year, you had 5 dudes. All of them played. Trey Lance found his way in.
Yeah, he did.
But Mac played the entire season. They got rid of Cam Newton.
Sure did.
For Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence started from day one. Zach Wilson started from day one. Justin Herbert basically started from day one because Tyrod got his that whole situation. Joe Burrow started from day one. They moved on from Andy Dalton. Like
Justin Herbert.
It has changed.
And looking at it right now, Pittsburgh has a contingency plan for Kenny Pickett.
And your situation in Pittsburgh. How'd it go for Mason Rudolph?
He sat and he baked and he cooked and he turned into a raisin right now.
That's it.
You don't let
in
him.
a nutshell.
If they let him sit that long, that's probably not a good thing.
Eventually, the topic becomes really easy for fans, for media, for a team. It's like, there's a reason he's not out there, isn't there? It's a simple question. It's a simple conclusion to draw. Fair or not, there can be a myriad of circumstances
And let's
why
say
a guy
this
that's
too.
talented that couldn't get in there because there's an entrenched starter or there's a system or there's a stubborn coach or there's bad ownership or bad management. Who knows?
Malik in 2 years. If he has to wait 2 years, you're probably not going to have a good season. You're going for a lottery guy.
Potentially.
Yeah. I'm going to stand on what I said just to see it through, Jay. But I'm a little.
You could absolutely be right. I don't think what you're saying is totally off base.
But it makes me think a whole lot more. As far as if Tannehill's here for another year.
You could absolutely be right.
Can you see a world in which they bench Tannehill? I guess it's happened before in his career.
This season?
No, next year.
No, next year, yeah. But I don't think he's here
For
as a
Malik.
backup. I don't think he's here as a backup.
But what I'm saying, halfway, he starts the season and Malik
So
takes
he's
off
Marcus.
History kind of what, Jay?
Repeating itself?
Yeah. This is going to be a wild look for this team at the most important position. And I'll say this, too. You go cheap at quarterback, you have an opportunity to build up your team.
Well, I mean, we talked about that yesterday.
That's the recipe, right?
That's the key. The key is a young quarterback on his first contract that enables you to pay the likes of A.J. Brown and Jeff Simmons.
But what is Haskins
the way San Francisco just pulled off.
What's Haskins to Derek then? Is this the same thing?
If they run Derek the way it feels like they might be about to run Derek, we're getting to tread on the tires where when you go to tire discounters or whatever, they're like, yeah, you're at about a 3
you shouldn't
right
leave
now.
here
You see
today.
the reds, you see that red line? That's where we are. We're not in the yellow anymore. I'm a little fearful for your drive home at that point. And then at that position, the level of that asset in this NFL and the amount of guys. Look, do you think Dallas is going to pay Zeke again?
Yeah.
Even if he returns to form, or are they now just going to go find a shifty guy in college to come in and be that
and
next
it's a
dude?
nice crop this year coming out. We got a couple people said, got news for y'all. Tannehill is going to be under center next year. Guys who fall 60-ish picks in the draft don't become guys in year 2, especially when they are inaccurate.
Thanks for that update.
Oh, you talking about the Braves?
No, I'm saying
that
that comment right there. Thank you for the news.
Hey, Jay Scott.
It doesn't matter where you were drafted. Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round.
And Dak Prescott was a 4th rounder.
Yeah. Russell Wilson was a 3rd. Like we could do this all day. It doesn't matter. The way Malik Willis gets his shot early is if Tannehill unfortunately has an injury.
Yeah. Or stinks.
And I don't think that will happen. Because he's not
which is why
he doesn't suck. He just is suckish in the playoffs, according to that caller.
He's a suckish quarterback.
Coach T, I believe.
Coach B,
sorry.
Yeah. Suckish.
Telephone number 615-737-1045. Slay is in next, so we can talk about some of this stuff with him, obviously. Hopefully his feet are not in his hands when we come back. It's Jay Martin and Mo on 1045 The Zone.
Excuse me?
Welcome back, Jay Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Tuesday, 9:20 means Ron Soleil is in the house. The food is not, but
I'm like Mr. Cooper.
Mark Curry, remember when he
I'm in the
got seen
house.
at a gas station a couple years ago and they didn't recognize it was him and they put him on a news station, didn't even realize it was that Mr. Cooper.
It was that Mr. Cooper, yeah.
You can find the videos like he was getting gas and they were asking him some local question and they were Mark Curry, but they didn't realize who he was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
Who is him?
Hey,
Like I
man.
ain't got no name.
Who the hell is him?
Hey, man, ain't nothing like getting stopped at gas stations. Gas stations are some of the coolest stops because you listen.
Well,
Now,
Depends on who it is.
That's what I'm trying to tell
okay,
you.
all right.
Because it's so unannounced and it's so mysterious, and anybody can be at the gas station.
Can.
Like you get homeless people at gas station,
Oh,
yeah,
you
you get
get
'em a lot.
bums, you get crackheads, you can get presidents, you can get, you know what I mean, CEOs.
Business owners,
The spectrum is wide.
athletes.
Sometimes
Hey,
they're
man.
all the same person.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Got
like
one
you go to the
rolled in
gas
one.
station,
Lawrence Taylor.
when you're pumping the gas and the guy starts very slowly walking towards,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of like, I know what's coming here.
Where's my heater monster?
Oh, no. All right, I'm gonna tell you one too. This one right here. When you pumping your gas, you got your back turned, and you hear somebody holler your name. That's the one that get me.
Yeah.
Hey, Slay! I'm sitting like, oh, come on.
Oh, here we
What
go.
is it? And you got to do the slow turnaround, and then they walk into it. I did that at the gas station about a year ago down here on 8th Avenue. I'm like, hey, man, what is going on down here? And I knew it was a partner from the hood. You feel what I'm saying? I was like, man, who was this, man? He turned around. Hey, man, let me get one of them shirts. I'm like, what shirt you talking about?
Well,
The Boom Boom Room shirt, man. Let me
that's
go
better.
get one.
That's
I said,
that's
oh.
better though than the person that calls you by your name when you're working at a retail store. And they don't know you at all. They're like, pardon me, Raymond.
Yeah.
That's when it's time to fight.
No, you got the wrong person, bro.
You know what?
You got the
Speaking
wrong
of which,
person.
that's been going on like far too often as of late.
Darren Bates.
Guess what? Bates and reached out. I'm going on now. I'm gonna straighten that. Don't even trip.
Hey,
I got you.
It's a great time on the show,
I'm
okay?
going-
And I
I got
told
you,
him
son.
my name. It's Ramon, okay? Bates, I know you're in camp right now. Listen, it's Ramon, but not only just, I go to so many, and I've been playing it super cool, y'all. I'll be, I'm particular about my name, but I'm not. Okay, it doesn't look,
It looks like
It ain't
Raymond.
nothing like that.
no, the hell it don't,
No,
Jay.
no.
It's Ramon. Come on. And I've been letting it slide for far too long. And I've just been like, Mon, you better step up. You 36 years old.
Be a man.
You don't stand up for your namesake, then you're going to forever be Raymond.
You
It's
gonna forever be right, man.
everybody hurt. I hate this dude, man. My name is Ramon.
Hey.
And I be going to events where I've been asked to come to these
Yeah.
places.
You still,
I'm still Raymond. I'm a man.
I just love when Bates.
almost 40.
Bates when he recognized me at the Buck Rising event. He's like, oh, you on the show with Raymond? I'm like, yes, I am.
You ain't correct.
Hell no.
If the big voice can say Ramon, you damn well better believe that you can say Ramon too, okay?
What is wrong with you guys this morning?
That's what I say every day when I go get my Starbucks
I like that
sometime.
drop.
It's Ramon, y'all. Like,
When he called you Raymond, I'm like, give me a Raw Room shirt. Immediately, like, extra large, please.
2 of them. Two.
You get one for the wife. You got a baby. You got infant sizes.
Yeah. We can get the whole gang.
disrespect is going too far. We ain't got nothing to
You
give
guys
away.
this morning.
Oh, my God.
Are you making a song?
He probably is.
Oh,
He's not playing We Built This City.
He better.
Because he said, it's the worst song ever invented. He screamed.
And what did we
Immediately started playing it.
we started playing it.
that was real.
Oh, savage.
Yeah, man. Yeah, y'all had some
Roman
good combos
noodles, see?
going this morning, man.
Cousin Andrew, you better stop joking before I get on your height, okay? He's in the chat talking about some Ramon noodles.
See.
To get on Andrew's height, all you got to do is just basically bunny hop and you're on his head.
You got to hit the Super Mario Brothers
That's
when
right.
you're jumping.
But he's a Goomba. He's not a Koopa. That's the easy mushroom.
Little mushroom, yeah.
You green, you in, Andrew. You throw your little joke out there. You in the joke fest now.
It's all free game now.
It's friggin' Ramon, okay?
You can get it.
Look, it said now Sally in on it. From here on out, I'm gonna be known as Raymond because I don't like it, okay? That's what's gonna happen now.
That's what happened.
Hey, Ron, is Ryan Tannehill going to be the starting quarterback for the Titans next season?
Sheesh.
See, you know what? I said this in the offseason, man, and it's kind of along the lines of Savage, what he said. And my thing is, after having a year like he had, the competitor that I believe that is in him, and after hearing him talk, and I said this before he talked, was that he would come out and have a season to where he is no longer the conversation going into the offseason, regardless of the playoff win or the playoff loss. He's going to come back and ball out and play with a vengeance and leave it up to where you ain't got no choice but to keep him. So I just think as a competitor, once you have a bad season like that and you have a chance to rebound, a lot of them do rebound, man. You know what I'm saying? And then now he put the Titans back against the wall. Y'all got to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? So I think, honestly, I do think he will be. And the reason being because he's going to play like it. You know what I'm saying? And I just honestly believe that.
So we say that, and it can go either way. But this is the thing about the new toy. The new toy is grapes.
Mm-hmm.
If it matures right, we get wine, right?
Right.
You get Joe Burrow. You get Aaron Rodgers. I'm just making this little picture right, painting this picture. But if you let it sit, it turns into pretty much raisins.
True.
So if Ryan Tannehill goes out and Malik sits for 2 years, what is Malik at that point? You see where we're getting at?
Yeah, without question. Malik,
because that's the same thing that's happened to Jordan Love.
Without question.
Mason Rudolph. 49ers not going to let it happen to Trey Lance.
Yeah. Yep.
They throw him out there. So what is he at that point?
Yeah. Chicago wasn't going to let it happen with
Kyle
Fields.
Trask.
He was high.
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, Trask. Yep. So, my thing is, man, you in a great situation when you go get a guy like Malik Willis and all those other guys that y'all mentioned. If they don't pan out and they do have to sit on the shelf, what round did you waste to get them?
Third.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, is it that much of a waste? If he had to sit on the shelf, if that was 2 years, who else is coming out in 2 years?
Whether
you know
he ever plays here or not, it was not a bad draft.
And that's what I'm saying. So you kind of got house money to throw it out. And even if you do got to throw him in, if he sits this year, Tannehill leaves a mark, and he got to sit next year. That's 2 years. Even if he had to sit that third year, that's 3 years for a quarterback to be coming. Now, I just think the way the game evolves and it's a passing game and how the NFL scheme has translated a little bit to college, even though, the field and all the markers, all is different. But the scheme is really the same. So in 3 years, I would imagine it's got to be somebody else. And if he's out there, I would think the Titans kind of stink at that point because they got to rebuild at some point. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So King would be gone in 3. I mean, if we're just thinking. King should be gone in 3.
Right.
Tanner should be gone in 3. And you kind of in rebuilding mode on offense.
So he's a bridge guy at that point to the next person.
Or, the little when you're reading books, the little bookmark. He's a bookmark. Just hold my page.
Just hold the page.
We'll be right back.
We get right back.
We'll be right back. Let me go get my highlighter so I can go through this book the right way and get some cliff notes.
Wow.
I'm just thinking, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, with house money, you throw him in there in year 3.
It don't matter at that point.
And he don't bomb. Hey.
We got him.
Now we got something.
And you also get to re-sign him for a cheaper price.
Here we go.
If Tannehill gets you to the playoffs and then does again what happened in January, do you have the same answer?
No.
He can't lose another playoff game like that.
Not on his merit.
That was
not on his
point.
merit.
Like if he goes out there and throws 350 and has 2 touchdowns and no picks, and the defense gives up 38 points and you lose 41-38, that's a different discussion.
That ain't on Tannehill.
No,
but if Tannehill goes and throws for 125, a touchdown and an interception, a touchdown, basically what we've seen him do in most of his playoff games, he can't do that again because you just can't keep running that out there.
Now you got to be able to. Listen, I've been in a lot of situations, man, and walked into the situations thinking I can't be the reason.
Yeah. I have to.
Win or lose. I mean, it's a team game. We're trying to win, but I ain't going to be this. When we turn on this film, I am not the reason, man. And that's got to be his mindset.
And you're aware of that as much as you don't want to admit
Without question.
It was weeks when we were going against a slimmer D line, and they had guys that was like 260, 272. They had that NASCAR package. You know what I did?
What?
Hey, Coach, I need some extra reps after practice against the DBs.
Yeah.
I need a rush.
Here we go.
Because if you faster than the DB,
yeah, you a bad
even
boy.
if I got beat by them, I'm preparing for it. So
Yeah.
that idea I can't be the reason, that's it has to, which is why I think he has a better year.
So do I. I'm just saying, when you get to the playoffs, that's what, like, he can go 16-1. It's not going to matter to a Titans fan if he goes and loses that playoff game.
God.
If he loses it, yeah. Yeah. And the way he does it.
Okay. Because that's why you play. You don't play for AFC South Division crowns. You play for playoff games. You've done that enough now that shouldn't be too exciting to you anymore.
But what he can't do either, as the season to a lot of fans doesn't matter and it is about the playoff game, to stamp it, can't go through this season stinking either and inch into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a situation, even with the AFC being the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, just ain't nothing that you want to inch into and you just happy to get in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was the last week and you got a Raiders and a Chargers situation taking place and you kind of squeak on in there. Yeah. Now, this ain't that either. You know what I'm saying? You need to go on and win the division. Because that's been your ace in the hole. Like, when I go to the negotiating table, if I can go to the table and say, listen, man, we the back-to-back-to-back division champs.
Yeah.
Irsay came out his own mouth on his jet and said, man, we need to be like the Titans. We got to beat them.
Yeah.
We're going to go get players to beat them, not to win the AFC, the whole conference.
They want
not to get to the Super Bowl. We got to win the division. Enough is enough.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's right. I'm keeping that ace in my hole.
Well, I've already said if you're trying to get in the AFC playoffs this year through the wild card, you're begging. Especially out of the AFC South.
I was having
better win the division. That's the guarantee.
I had a conversation with somebody this past weekend, and we were talking about that. The AFC South's like, who gonna get in? And nobody could give 7 teams.
Right.
As far as the AFC goes.
Right.
Nobody could give me 7. I think most said Kansas City. You said Buffalo. You said.
I got to tell you this, Moan.
Go ahead.
You're going to appreciate this so much. My colleagues at Fox, that host the Vegas show, Straight Out of Vegas show, RJ Bell and those guys, last night. Guess whose odds they just shot up through the roof because they got a top 5 roster in the league and now they got a quarterback.
Cleveland?
That's right. Oh. Here it comes.
It jumped up?
They're about to be the offseason champions again.
Wow.
You talking about a fan base that should
for
be
6 games?
Yeah. Again.
Sick of it.
Enough is enough, y'all.
So I didn't have them. I had Cincinnati.
Nor do I, by the way.
But as far as those 3 that I named, Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati.
Chargers is probably the other one a lot of people are throwing out there.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm going to be honest. Hard Knocks did something for me with the Chargers 2 years ago. I was a big fan of them.
For real? You're on the boat with them, too?
I've still been on. But I'm one of the guys that's like a little stowaway that's been hanging on to the life preserve on the side of the ship.
You getting a free ride on the city transit right now.
So
you on the back of the bus.
As soon as I see somebody pop a bottle of champagne, I'm just going to jump up on the bus. Hey,
give me a cup.
I've been looking for you. You know what I mean? Like, where you been?
Before we come up on this break, I'm going to throw some numbers out to you real quick. 6'1", 274.
6'1", 274.
Yeah.
Golly,
you're a founding partner of the Boom Boom
Without
Room.
question. He definitely get in at 6'1". I need to review. What does his resume look like?
He's a guard in NFL.
It's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough.
6'1", 274.
You gotta be
does attitude, will, drive?
You knew exactly where I was going.
Does it matter when you gotta see DeForest Buckner, Jeff every day? Who else is on? You got to see Cincinnati's got a real good D-line. Jacksonville invested a lot in their D-line. You see where I'm going?
Let me say this, Vajur. I'm a man of the trenches. Without
Boom
question.
Room founding member.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you
and we're speaking of Aaron Brewer, if
right,
you guys
without question. You warrant yourself, you grant yourself the benefit of the doubt with me. to get to this point, now I gotta go see it. Yeah. But I'm not gonna question you going into training camp. I'm not gonna question you going into preseason. I ain't gonna question you going into game 1.
Okay.
Or game 2.
Okay.
I got to see you game. By game 3, though, I need to see.
The first quarter of the season.
I'm talking about I need to be checking the box like, ooh, nastiness. Ooh, he don't care. Ooh, he bite ankles. Ooh, he don't, like, he'll knock the helmet off. He might step on the helmet. Like, he just nasty.
Week in and week out.
You have to be.
But when I said 6'1", 274, what was your reaction in your mind?
Man, who he talking about? What position he play? What is this, a DN?
That's the problem.
That's tough, man.
A quick twitch D tackle.
Yeah,
yes, 100%.
That's tough, man. That's tough. When you look at,
I'm with you. I'm not. I don't want to because I played the position. I played with guys, but those guys were also tackle with longer arms. They were all. Kelvin Beachum is 6'2", 6'3". Beach was he fights his weight. Like Beach is about 305.
You know what it looked like. What is?
But he got long arms.
That's what I was gonna say. What is he built like? What's his body structure? He a tank down low. You know what I mean? He little raptor arms. You know what I mean? Is he on the bench like Debo throwing up 700? You know what I mean? Like what we got? What we working with? That's what I need to know when I see him. Like is he able to move?
Yeah.
He got quick feet. Is he a plant? You know what I mean? Is he a tree stump right there?
You asking all those questions, it sound like you're a little concerned.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
Yeah, I'm looking for him. I'm looking for him.
What'd he say, Shave?
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
Give him to me. Put him out there if we going to do that. But this is what I said yesterday to Mike Keith. Don't put the O-line in a situation where we got to compensate. I know he ain't supposed to block Big Jeff by himself every game.
But he going to be there.
He going to be there, and I don't want to have Taylor Lewan worried about what he going to do with him. I don't want Ben Jones to have to worry about when he snap, he got to get right here to the D-tackle or the linebacker coming down. But he can't forget him.
Because he gave up pressures last year, too.
Exactly. So
Nate Davis.
Yeah. Do not have it to a point where they got to overcompensate for him. Then we losing.
We'll come back with more. Elijah Molden not at practice at the start again. So he's been a little banged up. He's missed a few here. But, it's August the 2nd, not September the 2nd. That's a good news. But that's just an update from John Glennon this morning over at St. Thomas Sports Park. We'll be back. More with Slate. Jay Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone. J. Mart and Ramon and Slay and Shafe. Finishing up here on a Tuesday. Buck Rising will join you next. So, yeah, Molden's out, but he'll be all right.
What? Oh, I missed something.
I missed something, too. I was looking down.
Let me clear
The
my
dude behind the
throat.
glass is a nut.
Dude behind
Everybody
the glass.
knows.
No question
Don't
about
ever
that.
remember it was the Ed Lover dance they played this
Yeah.
song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
do
Ed
the
Lover and Dr.
dance.
Dre.
That's right.
Who's the man?
Mhm.
But I remember
love
Ed
that
Lover and
movie.
Dr. Dre from MTV Spring Break.
Yep.
Yo.
Yo, MTV
Yep.
rap.
Yo, MTV Raps, too.
Because
Yep.
I was
took
a-
over for Fab Five Freddy. I hated when they did that,
Because
too.
I was a-
Really?
Couldn't stand it. Love
MTV
Fab Five
Raps
Freddy.
then kind of went away. Like it just all MTV started to become the same.
Yep.
I liked all the shows. I liked Yo MTV Raps. I liked Alternative Nation. I liked 120 Minutes. I liked all those shows. And then it was like, here's TRL
Yep.
Yo.
and just a bunch of videos.
Yeah.
And then now it's just Road Rules
Yep.
and Real World
Reality shows.
and all of that. And then MTV died for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know people watch Jersey Shore in droves. I was not one of those people.
I looked at Jersey Shore. I did.
I tried to. I
Making
couldn't
the
do it.
band.
I watched like
Oh, no, I was
two. I
on
watched
that.
2 episodes of it to see the hype, and I'm like, okay, our society's finished.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
I just enjoy watching the old music videos, and there's an MTV Classic,
It is. Yep. BT got a channel like that too.
Mhm.
but I don't think it's
Exactly.
actually available through what I have.
No, you got. Oh, you thought you was gonna get it for free?
They ain't gonna play like
It's
that.
America, Jack.
It costs money.
Money.
Let me get a little bit for my cataracts.
Come on. You probably smoke bud too.
Bobby Tree.
Hey, wait a second.
Big trees.
Tree. By the way, having
Hey,
a
we
great
looked
camp.
at suspensions. Don't put Bobby Tree's name over there.
Nah,
It'll be
Bobby
the same as
Tree.
Deshaun Watson's.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh,
No, I mean it will. Actually, it'll be
will
exactly
be
the same.
I think he ain't got a problem going. He's shaving it on off though.
Who?
Big trees.
Huh? Dog. What you got going on today?
Huh?
Huh?
No,
What
he
happened?
said Bobby. He said something about Bobby Trees.
I don't
Yeah.
even. See, this is, what
This is the
happens.
worst Who's on First skit ever that just happened here.
I have
At
no
least
idea.
Slay
what
now
you're
knows
talking
what
about.
that skit
4
is.
different shows at one point.
You know what? We got 5 different spam things in the chat.
Uh-oh.
I'm logging off of my life right now.
Hey, Will,
Perfect drop.
we're going to need you to get on the sex
Hey, yeah,
bots
man.
all over the chat.
Hey, but they got
2
Mr. Turner
days,
driving
that's
these
enough.
people over here, man. Mr. Turner driving the pedal tavern. Come on, man.
You remember the old Mr. Turner skit?
Hey, dog.
I was I was drinking.
About one driver, one mind driving.
Because Mike just said, holla. I told you to holler at me for the cable. You won't listen. I don't think it's available through
Michael.
Xfinity. I have everything. Michael did easy there,
Yo,
pal.
hey, Michael.
Easy, Michael.
Yeah.
What you got
Hey,
going
Michael
on?
Taps.
Is it Tibbs or Tabs?
Tabs.
Tabs. It's Tabs.
Mr. Tibbs was
It was on in the heat of the night.
yep.
Mr. Tibbs there.
That was on Happy Gilmore too, wasn't it?
Who?
Chips.
Mr. Tibbs?
Tibbs.
Was he?
Chips was Kenny Anderson.
I don't know who Tibbs was.
Thibodeau.
Tubbs. No, Tubbs.
Tubbs.
Crockett and Tubbs.
Crockett and Tubbs.
Crockett and Tubbs.
Philip Michael Thomas.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
Those are 3 names I like, Philip, Michael, and Thomas.
Am I missing something?
3 first
right here?
names.
Oh.
It's sort of a Fletch line that you wouldn't
I
get.
got Fletch and still hadn't watched it
Yeah,
yet.
that's a shame.
By the way, big pass caught by Bobby Trees yesterday too, and landed on his ACL
On his
knee.
left knee.
As
Yeah.
long
And
as he
moved
landed
on.
and kept going.
He did.
Bobby Tree.
Ron, how important is
Hey,
that for a
man.
guy that's had an ACL? What was your first dunk?
I'm telling you, so I got released June 1st.
Yeah.
I had my surgery January like 25th or 26th. They cleared me June 1st. We had the Pro-Am going here in Nashville. It was jumping, packed, sweat box. It's going down. Dog. And I remember I said, I'm going to play in it. And whatever happens, it happens.
Wow.
And first play, Marcus Kinzer kicked it up ahead to me, and there was a dude right there. I was like, forget it. Took off, dunked, and there wasn't no turning back.
That was it.
It was over.
Was Kinzer
Okay.
the
It was
Iowa
over.
State? The guy from Iowa
No,
State?
he went to Tulane.
Tulane.
Yep.
Who am I
Yep.
thinking of who went to Iowa State?
Pfizer.
Okay. Pfizer. Marcus Pfizer. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was it, man. It was the thing of, man, you gotta get to the point where you say whatever's gonna happen is happening, because you taught during rehab so much to protect it. Like when they tell you to come down, concentrate on stepping up, coming down. When you jump up on one leg, come down, concentrate and focus on it. So you take that automatically over to your game. And it's hard to get rid of it all, the concentration of coming down. Yeah, when you're looking like a robot. But when you do it free, you gone.
It's done.
He gone.
So he landed on the left knee.
He gone.
We rolling.
And I told Yoran and them, man, now it may look this year for a guy that's done an ACL, when you look at him and watch him, you'll be all the way back. I didn't find out till the next summer that I was running kind of with a limp. Yep.
Like
and
Bud
I was dragging it. Like Bud,
yep.
But I played through the whole year, so that don't mean you can't be successful or have a great season. Like All-American, SEC Player of the Year, everything, led the league in scoring. But when I got to training, they were telling me, they took me on the track and said, hey, man, like I had to go back to doing high knees and practicing how to run and everything because they said I was dragging my leg, and it made sense. But I didn't know it because I was so focused on getting back and just playing free. Yeah. So, then he'll probably experience that a year after. But that don't mean he ain't going to have a successful season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in there, and he got up high.
Yeah, he went and got that thing.
He mossed the young boy.
So did. So dang,
his rehab buddy,
Caleb.
I
fall out the trees, man. I fall out the trees on you. I'm beat trees. You ain't know.
Golly.
What's happening on the program this afternoon?
Well, we got Alan Bell coming through. We got I don't know.
Come on,
we're gonna have a good time.
That's pretty much our show every day.
We're gonna have a good time. I think Jim Wyatt. Man, listen,
Stop.
I'm here for good times,
it's a
man.
party. 3 HP, 3-hour party.
I'm here for a good time, man. So make sure you tune in. I tell you that.
That's it. Buck Rising coming up next. Is he here? Is he?
I think it's a training camp.
We got an F1 driver coming on today.
What's his name?
Mark
Andretti.
You have an F1 driver or a Grand Prix World Series?
Grand Prix driver.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes I'm just
IndyCar.
Sometimes
IndyCar.
We just do.
Yeah.
We better get up off this show.
Good thing we're not a sports show.